In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. O Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here to hear Thursday. I ask that thou grant us the grace to make this time fruitful, and may it help us to learn and grow in our faith and spiritual lives. We ask this through Jesus Christ, thy Son, our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with thee, in the unity of the Holy Ghost, ever one God, world without end. Amen. Thursday moved to Steubenville, Ohio on a wing, and prayer with only what he could fit in his truck. Despite no degree or formal training, he taught himself editing and has done a lot of work with New Polity and Pints with Aquinas. Though he can't speak on Pints with Aquinas operations, he can speak on his life in Steubenville and also politics and economics from an authentic Catholic position. In his free time, he also streams games on his YouTube channel and posts hot takes on Twitter. Both can be found at Steuben Thursday on each platform. Everyone, please welcome Thursday.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, Thursday?
I'm just vibing. I had a good chill Saturday. Did a little editing, so yeah,
Looks like everyone in the chat is excited. So, with that, let us jump straight into the questions.
sweet.
The first question is from What Are You Doing? Hello, Thursday. So, Steubenville is your classic sketchy, poor, deindustrialized town. How have you seen people use living there as an opportunity to live out Jesus' words, to feed and clothe the poor and spread the gospel?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So there's a couple things. There is next to the parish I go to, St. Peter's. There's a place. It's called the Friendship Room. It's an old house. And people just donate things, and then there's I think like 5 or 6 people who volunteer all pretty much full time there. And there's food and clothing and blankets and anything to help the poor. Also, there is a Methodist ministry that's called the Urban Mission that was originally started to minister to the steelworkers decades ago, but now they do mostly stuff with homeless. They have some dorms and some shelters in town. I actually did some work for them before I started working for New Polity. And then on a personal level, I do know a lot of people who um, really try to go out of their way to be um, just be Christ to the poor. Because while we are trying to make Steubenville an authentically Catholic place to live for families, we don't want to do that at the cost of um, disenfranchising the poor who live here or at the cost of looking down on them. We think none of us really think that's a healthy way to go about this because Christ says the poor are always to be with us. So,
That's pretty awesome to hear that Steubenville has such a awesome community where people are actually trying to live out the uh, corporal works of mercy. Speaking from my own experience, I don't think many Catholics have an opportunity to do that, or even if they do have an opportunity, they don't really try to perform corporal works of mercy.
yeah, the corporal works of mercy um, are really, I think, more important than a lot of people realize. Even when we talk about, oh, these are the things that Christ is going to ask us. I mean, we heard it in the gospel this past Sunday, a week ago. Um, but also, when Christ is asked, there's the story. One of my favorite stories from the Gospels is the rich young man who comes to Christ and says, "Teacher, what must I do to be saved?" And he says, "This commandment, this commandment, this commandment. All these things I've done from my youth." And he says, "Well, then sell everything you own, give it to the poor, and follow me." And so, not just the commandments, but the thing Christ tells the man who comes directly to Christ and asks, "What must I do to be saved?" He says he follows the Decalogue and the commandments and the law, and Christ says that to be saved, we must be taking care of the poor. So, yeah. There's also
Next,
a great
oh,
there's also a great story. Hold on. I want to tell this story. I think so Chaput said this a lot, but I think it was actually the Cardinal of Chicago in the late middle 20th century that coined this phrase, and it was he would say it a lot at fundraisers. He would say to rich people, um, the poor need you so they don't die, and you need the poor so you don't go to hell. So
that's a
yeah,
good saying.
yeah, I like that a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
The next question is from Lady Mage. If you weren't doing what you are doing now, what other career would you have chosen?
This, uh, I do I look like a guy with a plan? So kind of infamously with my friends that I don't have a plan and kind of just got blessed into what I was doing and what I'm doing now. I didn't have any like long-term plans or any like career outlooks. Um, I just wanted to live in Steubenville and live an authentically Catholic life. So if I wasn't doing what I was doing now, I'd probably still be doing new polities editing. And I also probably would be still working for their wood shop. So I'd be woodworking and video editing for New Polity.
I guess also, it's hard to think about what career you would have chosen if you didn't choose this one, if you're completely content in the stuff that you're doing now.
Yeah, it's been a year now. I started part-time in December of last year, and so it's been a year now since I started doing this, and I just really can't see myself doing anything else long term, even decades from now. I get so much fulfillment from getting to create, and I really like technology. I've always been kind of a tech head, and so getting to play with technology and then also be creative and do so to spread the gospel. I'm so blessed. I can't imagine doing anything else or wanting to do anything else. So,
Amen. Next question is from Captain Pants. What is your favorite book of the Bible and why?
that's a hard one. I think I'd have to go with either First Maccabees or the Epistle of St. Jude. Um, and as far as why, really like there's just something about the way that the story of the Maccabees is told and the reality of the Israelites as a people with a heritage that must be protected that really, I think, is an antidote to a lot of the problems we're seeing in modern politics, but also in the modern church, in our maybe sometimes um, some Catholics' misunderstanding of politics. And then the Epistle of St. Jude, I just really like because St. Jude and I have is one of the saints that I'm closer with. We have a relationship, so I really like his epistle.
I personally really like the Gospel of St. John because the Johannine theology really speaks to me, especially the very opening lines.
Yeah, that's great.
Next question is from Genesius. Greetings, Thursday. What do you think about Buccees?
Yeah, I have no thoughts on it. I've never been to one, and I don't plan to because I do not engage in wanderlust.
You'd have to at least go very south to get there.
Yeah, I don't like going places. So,
Sorry, Genesius. Next question is from Cubic. During the Dr. Alan Harrelson interview, Matt smoked a cartoonishly large church warden pipe. Did you feel embarrassed for him? Please tell the truth. My dad wants to know.
no, I don't feel embarrassed for him. That pipe is amazing. And it also is a phenomenal smoke because Matt has on multiple occasions let me smoke from it, and it smokes phenomenally. And it also is 100% wood, and is handcrafted. So it's an artisan piece that's also incredibly functional for what it's designed for. So there is no embarrassment.
Does Matt think of himself like Gandalf when he smokes that?
No, he doesn't. No, he just really likes the thing. So I think this is true, and I'm sure I'll get a message in 2 seconds flat from my tobacconist friend if I get this wrong. But I think it is true that they are called church warden pipes um, because in the Middle Ages and in the early modern period and in the Renaissance period, the church wardens smoked from that style of pipe because the long stem cools the smoke off and it allowed them to smoke for a longer period of time. So it without burning their mouth. And I'm getting a message now that I'm wrong and I don't care. So apparently that's not the case, but I like that naming that story for the name. So seethe about it.
I like
So
that he just actually did message you so quickly.
yeah. Yeah, I don't care if that's wrong. It's cool. It's a cool story, so
All right, the next question is from Jojo. Hello, Thursday. Who is your favorite saint and why?
my favorite saint. Uh my patron is Saint Joseph Cupertino. Um I also have devotion to Saint Jude and a devotion to Saint John Bosco. Um so I would say one of those three. I think the saint that I have the most interaction with though is the Blessed Mother. A lot of my just like daily mental prayer throughout the day is addressed to her, or to God the Father. I was blessed enough to have really great parents, and so the parental nature of God the Father and the Blessed Virgin is something that comforts me.
It's basically just a server meme at this point that whenever there's an AMA, the correct answer to the question, who's your favorite saint, is the Blessed Mother. There's no other correct answer. The only thing you get to
Yeah,
modify
like,
is
do
the
you want
what
me to like
title.
say like what the coolest, like what I think some cool, funny saints are that like Saint Lawrence, of course, has like the most amazing martyrdom story. Um,
Flip me over,
he
I'm done.
Yeah, flip me over, I'm done on this side while he was being roasted alive. Yeah. I guess, there's also the there's this great story of Pope Pius X that I heard this week, that there was this bishop who was like engaged in all kinds of publicly scandalous sins, public drunkenness. He apparently had been caught with a woman at one point and was going to like dance houses that he shouldn't have been going to. And so the Pope called him into his office to call him to task for it. And so Pius X calls him into his office and he's standing there and Pius X opens the papal humidor on his desk and offers him a cigar and he goes, "Oh, your Holiness, I don't have that vice." And Pius X answers him, "Oh, if smoking cigars were a vice, I would not offer you one. You have quite enough vices." I mean, so, favorite saint, like who do I speak to the most? The Blessed Mother, but I mean, there are tons of great saint stories.
Which title of the Blessed Mother do you have a devotion to the most?
I don't think I do have one. I just kind of just address the Blessed Mother as mother or mom. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Next question is from Potato Cream Soup. Greetings, Thursday. You've recently joined the Spice Girls. What spice name have you created for yourself?
Yeah, I reject the premise of the question. And transgenderism is cringe, and anyone participating in it is cringe. So
All right, Potato, you had your fun there. Next question is from Goofier Ball. Hello, Thursday. It's great to have you on CDD. From your perspective as an editor, how do you think that video editing or Catholic edits, from a Catholic standpoint and done by Catholics, can help spread the faith to modern and young Gen Z faithful? Thank you and God bless.
yeah, I've thought a lot about this actually. I thought a lot about this in my just independently, and then I saw this question and I thought about how to phrase my thoughts on it better, and I came up with nothing. So I'm just gonna say kind of what I say to most people is the best way to think about the internet and doing Catholic things online is in the context of the new evangelization, and in the context of mission. Um, and so, you know, in the context of mission, you have to learn the language of the people whom you are ministering to. And to that end, I think evangelization on the internet means understanding the internet and being, quote unquote, in the world, but not of the world. And so when I do editing and stuff, one, I try to make sure that it's like I try not to put things out that I don't think are good. Um, and I also try to I don't think that it's wise, especially in internet evangelization, to consider ourselves above whatever the trend is currently, unless the trend is in of itself immoral, right? And part of that is like, um, in my work, what I do with YouTube, part of that is like I try to make the videos that we put out relevant um, to the way the rest to the kind of content that people are watching. Um, and when I make stuff, when I stream on my own channel, I try not to consider myself like above, like, oh, I need to be doing this, or this. It's like, you know, if I just want to, play Fortnite and play Minecraft, then that's what I'll do that night. But then if it's like, oh, I want to read this article and talk about why I liked it or what the thoughts in it are, I'll do that. So I think it's important that you like what you're doing, and it's clear that you like what you're doing because people can tell um, when you're being fake. And it's also important to understand the internet if you're going to be doing stuff online and to not, like, I think the quintessential example of this is like YouTube thumbnails, right? You can say, oh, I hate clickbait and I hate YouTube thumbnails, so I'm not going to do it that way. And it's like, okay, there's merit to that, right? But if your goal is to reach people who otherwise wouldn't hear the message and you're unwilling to do the things that will get them to hear your message, um, you failed at the start. Like, I think you failed before you even set out to do anything. So, yeah.
I guess another merit of the internet is the ability to form communities, especially if you're not in an area with many Catholics or you're not a very social or extroverted person. The internet's a very great forum for being able to build Catholic communities, even if it's not exactly the same as a community in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next question is from Bonaventure. Hello, Thursday. Pints was fairly influential in my conversion, so I struggle to cast off technology altogether. But I also have a real love-hate relationship with social media platforms and smartphones in general. As I am continuing my application for seminary, I can't help but wonder how to balance technology as a, God willing one day, pastor. Any advice on how we can use social media virtuously? Obviously, I think it can be done, but I struggle sometimes with the thought that it's just a lesser evil. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll somewhat refer to my previous question on evangelization and say speaking the language of the internet is important if you want to minister to the internet. But I will say also, like, in that vein, continuing that analogy, like, if somebody is really, um, if you have somebody who is not going to respond well to cold and is going to be very ill because of it, you don't send them to minister to the oh, what are they called up in the north of Canada? The
The Inuit.
Eskimos, yeah. You don't send them to minister the Inuit. That's the word we're supposed to use now. Whatever. You don't send them to minister to the Inuit, right? Right? Because you don't want to like send somebody. You don't want somebody to be harmed by the ministry, right? Like if you're not strong enough to do a certain type of ministry, like, or you're unable due to your physical characteristics or even your temperament, like that's okay, right? Like that just means that's not where you're called. Um, so like there's something of that, right? So if there's something in your temperament where you're addictive and you're not going to be able to not stop using it, then cutting it out totally is a good thing. And I think also one of the things we're seeing, I know this is the case in some religious orders and in some non-religious, but like priestly congregations. The one that comes to mind is the FSSP doesn't give their seminarians internet access for their first year, I think, maybe more. Um, so if you're going to be a pastor, I think you really need to have self-mastery. So if you're struggling to give it up, then you really should be prioritizing self-mastery. That's the one thing I would say. And then what was the other part? Struggle. Uh, yeah, virtuous social media usage. I mean, prioritize community, prioritize real life relationships, and when you're not, be intentional about using it for the good. That's all.
I guess hearing what you said about the FSSP, we have an ICKSP priest on the server who's a Zoomer, and I can't imagine him having to give up the internet. No offense to you, Father Tarumbar.
I mean, yeah,
Uh,
I don't think like long term, like forever is a different thing, but I think like it's good in the formation period.
Next question is from Church Ordinariate Nightmare. Good day. Could you tell us what was the point in your life where you made the decision to fully live the Catholic faith? Also, if you were voted in Pope, what would be your papal name?
Yeah. So I guess I could say two things. When I converted in 2012, with my father, I would say that's a big one. Um, I really never um, gave up believing from then. Um, but like to live fully the faith, especially as I understand it now, as the importance of social and cultural and having community as a quintessential and essential part of living out our faith. I think that's when I decided to move to Steubenville in December of 2021.
Next
So, oh, the
question.
people
Oh,
name. Yes. Uh, I would do the two name thing. But I would go with Leo Pius. For Leo the 13th and Pius the 10th. I think they're
so you're
two.
pulling a John Paul move there.
Yeah, I think John Paul. Well, obviously John Paul II picked it because he wanted to respect John Paul I, which is incredibly honorable and I think underappreciated as like one of the coolest things that a pope has ever done. But I think the reason John Paul I did it is because he wanted to like communicate the importance of the Second Vatican Council, and that's important. But I think that Leo the 13th really starting what today we consider Catholic social teaching. I think it's one of the most underappreciated. It is the most underappreciated aspect of the Catholic faith. And then Pius the 10th, I think, um, his love for uh, the faith as like a tradition. And also, I really enjoy his catechism. I think it's his simplicity, but also faithfulness. Just, I think the two of them are would be great to bring back into the forefront of the church's mind.
Amen. Next question is from El Presidente. Is Thursday your favorite day of the week? Also, please say newt newt.
Okay, I don't know what the second thing is, so I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, good choice, good choice.
Uh, Thursday is not my favorite day of the week. I picked the name Thursday because of the man who was Thursday. Um, Sunday is my favorite day of the week. Um, for those who are not aware, The Man Who Was Thursday by G.K. Chesterton is the reason that I picked the name. It was my gamer tag for a long time. Um, so I picked it because of this paragraph in the book, and can I read it? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can read it. It's fine.
Okay. So, uh, Gabriel Syme was not merely a detective who pretended to be a poet. He was not really a poet who had become a detective, nor was his hatred of anarchy hypocritical. He was one of those who are driven in early life into too conservative an attitude by the bewildering folly of most revolutionists. He had not attained it by any tame tradition. His respectability was spontaneous and sudden, a rebellion against rebellion. He came of a family of cranks in which all the oldest people had the newest notions. One of his uncles always walked about without a hat, and the other had made an unsuccessful attempt to walk about with a hat and nothing else. His father cultivated an art of self-realization. His mother went for simplicity and hygiene. Hence, the child, during his tender years, was wholly unacquainted with any drink between the extremes of absinthe and cocoa, of both of which he had a healthy dislike. The more his mother preached Puritan abstinence, the more did his father expand into a more pagan latitude. And by the time the former had come to enforce vegetarianism, the latter had pretty well reached the point of defending cannibalism. Being surrounded with every conceivable kind of revolt from infancy, Gabriel had to revolt into something, so he revolted into the only thing that was left, sanity. But there was just enough in him of the blood of these fanatics to make even his protest for common sense a little too fierce to be sensible. So, first time I read that, I realized that was me, not because of the parents or the family. I actually had, like I said earlier, just amazing parents. But it does describe the maternal and paternal excesses on each side of modern culture, and why I've become who I became because I revolted into sanity, but in an insane manner.
All
So,
right. Next question then is from Dragonite. Good evening, whenever this AMA occurs, Mr. Thursday. As someone who doesn't have formal training in apologetics, but often finds myself as someone who has to defend Catholic doctrine to my Protestant friends, what advice can you offer to grow in apologetic skills? Also, say Christ is Lord.
yeah, Christ is Lord, Christ is King. Anybody who says otherwise or gets uncomfortable with that is not somebody you should be trusting. Um,
Amen.
if somebody gets uncomfortable because somebody says Christ is King or says that saying Christ is King is offensive in some way, that person is not trustworthy. Stop listening to anything they say, period. Um, as far as the apologetics thing, I don't have a great answer for this. I have an odd ability. I was blessed with a really good memory, um, and a fairly analytical mind. And so the way I learned apologetics and theology is mostly just through I listened to a lot of EWTN and Pints with Aquinas back when it was literally about the Summa. Uh, and so I just listened to a lot of that, and eventually I kind of just had a basic understanding of it all in my head. And so I would say the best way to do it is just to like really study everything and form a worldview that is Catholic. And that way, even if you don't know the answer to something explicitly, if you understand the Catholic principles, you can draw from that and answer questions, but also prefacing it with I don't know is always safe.
It's also very wise to do your research before you uh, just immediately try to answer a question.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm saying like preface it with I don't know if you haven't done your research, but like there are some questions that like you might be asked that you could apply, especially when you get like a lot of times now apologetics comes down to what about this specific circumstance? And it's like it's really going to be difficult for you to find somebody addressing every specific circumstance. So, if you have a good understanding of Catholic moral theology and moral principles, then you can answer those questions.
Next question is from Lace. Good day, Thursday. What's your favorite video game and/or gaming franchise?
My favorite video game is Jedi Fallen Order, the first one. I did really enjoy Survivor, but it didn't add enough for me to feel like it was a totally new experience. So it felt more like extra content for the first one, which was great because I loved the first one, but it just didn't surpass it for me because of the fondness I have for experiencing Fallen Order for the first time. My favorite franchise, though, is the Arkham games. To get something that consistently good for that long and to do so and to refresh it constantly and make it every single game feel like a unique experience that you really need to play is phenomenal. Honestly, I doubt that any video game franchise will surpass Arkham in how good it was for how long it was and how consistent it was. So,
I personally think that I'd probably enjoy both Jedi Survivor games, but these days I try to avoid Disney Star Wars like the plague. So,
yeah, I avoid all things Disney and all things Star Wars, with the exception of I bought Survivor because I loved Fallen Order so much. So,
next question is from T3. Hello, Thursday. When do you think Catholics should consider boycotting products and companies? I've seen that several Catholics want to boycott basically everything, and there are others who say that boycotts are useless. Where should we draw the line?
so a full-scale like Catholic boycott, or a Christian boycott or a conservative boycott, you need a big group of people to do it. Um, and so you can be successful with that, um, if you get enough people going. My concern more is what I think is better is for us to decide what things we need and figure out if we can get them from a source that doesn't hate us or isn't doing things contrary to the faith. And the quintessential example here, I think, is the grocery store, right? Like every single person listening to this, their local grocery store is some corporation that gives money to LGBT causes and would be willing to pay for abortions. But you need food, right? So you're going to have to shop there. You're going to have to feed your family. You're going to have to feed yourself. But we should be making conscious efforts to figure out when and where we can get food from places that are local for the purposes of obeying the church's principle of subsidiarity and for the purpose of creating a gradual transition away from a system where we are um, in a stranglehold to these corporations. Because that's what it is, right? Like your local grocery store that you're going to, like you can say all you want about, consensual transaction, but you can't really consent because you can't not eat. So they are literally like, I mean, not literally, but like in a very real way, you're being held hostage to Kroger or Walmart or King Super or whatever other grocery store you're going to. So the goal is to slowly break that stranglehold by getting our food and getting our goods from places that don't hate us and from people who we know so that we can replace faceless mega corporations with relationships.
I also think boycotts only work when there's high levels of organization and people are actually willing to sacrifice the good that they would have otherwise been able to get. Like I think that's why the Bud Light boycott actually worked because who actually likes Bud Light?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like people who bought it before all went to other beers and now like realized that Bud Light was terrible all along. I will say Pabst Supremacy. So, yeah.
Next question is from Sasquatch Donut. What are your thoughts on partaking in tomfoolery? And is working with Matt that bad?
No, working with Matt is great. Matt is an amazing boss. He's a good man. I also consider him a friend, and I feel valued and loved working for him in a very real, very human way. Anybody who says anything negative about him has never met him. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah, engaging in tomfoolery, you have to. If you're not engaging in tomfoolery, you're going to be depressed, and if you're depressed, then you're not joyful, and if you're not joyful, then you're not following the gospel. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess another way to avoid depression is just to lift some weights.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna lift weights, if you're lifting weights to look good, that's heterosexually
Vanity.
challenged. Yeah. Vanity. Yeah, we'll use the theologically correct term, sure.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you could say it's effeminate to do it for vain reasons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Someone in the live chat just pinged me and said I'm wrong. I don't know about what, but whatever.
Probably the lifting weights thing. It's kind of a joke in the weightlifting community that if you lift weights for long enough, you'll get body dysmorphia. So
Next question is from Wizurf. Hello, Thursday. How can I ensure my question pertains in no way to... Oh,
yeah, we can skip
okay.
that one.
Yeah. Uh,
And
next
then
question
yeah.
is from Triconius. Hello, Thursday. Thoughts on Tuesdays?
Oh yeah, I can give you thoughts on Tuesday. Tuesday, he's a good Polish guy, you know. I had some suspicions about him from the start, but turned out to be a good Englishman. Plays a heck of a Polish guy, great accent. But good man, good detective, good cop, really great cop. Um, and we love him on the Council of Days squad. So
What about Sunday?
Sunday, you know, Sunday's an enigma. You feel like when you're looking at his face, that you're just seeing the back of something, which is quite interesting. It's hard to describe. You know, he's so big that he feels like he shouldn't be able to exist, but he does. And then when he moves so lightly. Almost like watching Jason Kelsey play football. So,
Okay, the next question is from Gabs. Greetings, Thursday. What's your most and least favorite thing about working at Pints with Aquinas?
my most favorite thing is all the people I get to meet. Um, I love meeting the guests. I love getting to talk to them, getting to meet them. I'm getting to see them as human beings. It's awesome. And I don't know what my least favorite thing is. I think it would probably just be generally like it's easy to let negative comments get to you. Um, so that's probably my least favorite thing. It's just it's hard to not let negative comments get to you. I mean, I'll say this. So we've been trying a new thing with the long form videos where I'm doing edits and overlays in the long forms rather than just doing them in the clips. And I saw like 3 negative comments today about the overlays, saying they were distracting or felt bad. And when you put, you know, it's a 3 hour and 40 minute long video, and so when I've put 12 to 15, maybe 16 hours of work into editing that video, and you're really proud of it, it's hard to not feel sad when you see people saying that they don't like it. Even if they're perfectly fine to like it's fine if they don't like it. Like they're allowed to have that opinion, but it's hard to not feel sad when you see negative comments.
I guess it's very easy for people to dish out criticism, but it's very difficult for people to take in criticism.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when it's something that you felt like was good and you're it's not like it's not just that like you put a lot of time into it, but also you like it. Yeah. So, yeah. That's my least favorite thing. I think it's just negative comments. It's hard not to take them to heart. So,
Next question is from Maka. Hi there, Thursday. Thanks for doing an AMA with us. If you literally got to have a pint with Aquinas, what would you have a pint of, and what would Aquinas be having?
yeah, I drink a lot of Paps. I'd probably just have a Paps, depending on what they had on tap, you know? A good Yingling on tap in an iced mug is hard to beat, honestly. You know, that's hard to beat. Um, you know, beer wasn't super popular in Italy, um,
Even now.
in even now, but especially in the Middle Ages. I mean, you probably couldn't get it unless it was like some specialty brought in from Northern Africa or the Near East. So I would imagine he'd actually be having wine.
I guess he might be able to drink beer if he was in Paris when he was there.
Yeah, that's true. It was more common in France. Yeah.
But I guess as an Italian, he would prefer wine.
Yeah. A mega pint, if you will, if you get that reference. Good for you.
Let's see. Next question is from Madeline. What are some of your favorite devotions that you use in your prayer life?
Um, I pray the rosary, and then I read Practice of the Presence of God, uh, pretty much I read Practice of the Presence of God like white women watch The Office, just constantly. When I finish it, I just restart it again, you know? So it's not technically a devotional book, but I treat it as one. It's amazing.
White women in chat, is it true you watch The Office like that?
Yeah. You guys can steal that line. It's a Thursday original, but
Okay. Next question is from Captain Nemo the Conqueror. What are your thoughts on guitars during mass?
I think guitars during mass are inappropriate. um, I think using modern or the instruments of a culture for devotional music is good because then it speaks to the person in the culture they're in. But I think, especially when the church has decided to give us instructions on music for liturgy, we ought to obey the instructions that we get on music for liturgy. Um,
For me,
so
just give me the pipe organ or a cappella chanting, and I'll be
that
happy.
that is the direction explicitly of Pius X's encyclical on music, and I think also it's
Sacrosanctum
in
Concilium.
Sacrosanctum Concilium says it should be given pride of place. So yeah,
I mean, Sacrosanctum Concilium does technically allow other instruments. So
yeah, pride of
technically
place is an allowance. Yeah.
yeah. So technically guitars are allowed, but the prevalence of them is probably not in accordance with the mind of the church.
That's true. Yeah. I think another thing to keep in mind is anytime the church makes an allowance for something, to keep in mind that it's an exception. So when we can, we should try to not use exceptions. We should try to use what the ideal is. Yeah,
Yeah. So next
that's all.
question is from Superboard. Good day, Thursday. My question for you is, how has pursuing editing brought you closer to the faith through Pints with Aquinas and other productions?
Just getting, I mean, the effect of getting to use my creative skills for spreading the faith itself, excuse me, is, I mean, yeah, that in itself does a lot of great for my spiritual life. But then also just getting to like, I get to look at a lot of beautiful art or like search through a lot of beautiful art, which is great for you. You know, great for your soul to look at beautiful things, especially beautiful holy art. So
It must be very edifying.
yeah, it's very much edifying. And
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Matt is a Byzantine, so he has icons.
Matt is Ukrainian Catholic. Yes. Ukrainian Greek Catholic. He's a canonical member of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. Yeah.
Next question is from Washington. Hello, Thursday. What are your thoughts on SpaghettiOs? You can skip this question, by the way.
I don't eat SpaghettiOs. I have no thoughts on SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, it's probably best you don't try them ever.
Yeah. I will
Next,
say I do
oh.
love pasta. So if I have any thoughts on SpaghettiOs, it's that it's a corruption of the divine gift of
Yeah,
pasta.
if you like pasta, never have SpaghettiOs. You
Yeah.
will. It's like a blasphemy against pasta, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next question is from Andy. Hi, Thursday. If you could have a pint or a virgin pint, I don't know, with any saint that's not Aquinas, who would it be and why?
Um, can I cheat and pick Blessed Leo the 13th?
I mean, sure, he's probably in heaven anyways.
I mean, well, the blessed means that he is. It's just that he hasn't been given the canonical title, the canonized title yet. I think I would say Leo the 13th, honestly. Just I I really love the Catholic social teaching. I can't speak highly enough of the beauty in it, and its underappreciation in modern discourse, especially in politics. And to get to, and it's not like he invented it, right? Like he didn't invent a new category of Catholic teaching, but the man who like started the popes down this path where we've had, you know, 7 or 8 encyclicals in the last 130 years now on the same topic, just expanding on his encyclical, all based on his thought on it. just to get to sit down and talk to him about that. And yeah, that would be the one, I think.
He's also the Pope that drank Vin Mariani, which was a wine that was mixed with cocaine. So he seems to like drinking a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Next question is from John the Quiet. Hi, Thursday. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer our questions. What are your top 3 favorite fictional books of all time?
Oh, this is easy. Dune, Canticle for Leibowitz, and the Space Trilogy.
All excellent books.
Yes, yeah.
Though I'm surprised you didn't say any of Tolkien's works.
His books are great. I do not like them as much as I like. I guess also The Man Who Was Thursday is still my favorite book. Um, but I always consider that a foregone. So I guess it's The Man Who Was Thursday, Dune, and and then Canticle for Leibowitz. Dune is phenomenal. Anybody who hasn't read it should. Canticle for Leibowitz is also phenomenal, and you should read it.
Are you excited for the new Dune movie coming out in March?
No, I have not seen the first one, and I'm not going to. Um, the message of Dune is such that it is impossible for Hollywood to make a Dune movie that is faithful to the intentions of Frank Herbert. So I don't even have to see it to know that it is a corruption of a masterpiece.
Next question is from the Batman. What's your opinion on the 4 liturgical season Marian hymns?
Yeah, I don't know what those are. So what are they?
I think I have them here actually. Just give me a minute. Uh let's see. Alma Redemptoris Mater, uh Ave Regina Caelorum, Regina Caeli, and Salve Regina.
Oh, I mean they're good, especially when they're chanted in the solemn tones. They're phenomenally beautiful. So
I especially like the Salve Regina
yeah, the Salve is great.
because that's the only one I know how to sing.
Yeah. Well, it's the one that's around for the longest. So
Yeah. Next question is from Tivok. Who would drag a plane faster? 2 elephants or 100 dwarves?
100 dwarves easily. Yeah.
Yeah, dwarves are much more powerful than people realize.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Next question is from For the Realies. Is Thursday your real name, or is your real name actually a different day of the week?
You know, you're never gonna figure it out unless you like do some basic Googling. Then you could find my real name. It's not hard to find. My docs is out there. It's really not hard to find, but nobody ever goes looking for it, which is hilarious to me. So
Google's what is Pints with Aquinas producer Thursday's real name?
honestly, there might be, I won't say that. I don't want to give those guys attention, so I won't say who's probably published it somewhere.
Next question is from Belly. Many are saying you have come to support anarcho-monkeyist philosophy, also known as Shire integralism, also known as the realm of the overlong screed. What say you on the need for the local as a superior form of politics to the national?
Yeah, okay. So that's all code for what do you think about subsidiarity? Uh, Subsidiarity is amazing and it is misunderstood because we think it means federalism in America. And it kind of means the opposite because subsidiarity means that the higher authorities are contingent upon the lower, not the opposite. So, if you have a higher authority if you have a lower authority, like a state, who gets its power from permission of the higher authority, all of the actions of the state are actually just actions of the federal government um, with the state as an appendage. So, uh, yes, I agree with all of that. And the Overlong Screed is a reference to an article written by Mark Barnes, and I don't remember what the actual title of the article is, but the URL is Overlong Screed, has Overlong Screed in the title. because Adrian Vermeule accused Mark of writing overlong screeds. So he made the title of the art. He made the URL say an overlong screed as a nod to the fact that he doesn't care, and the article is also incredibly long on purpose. Uh, so it's called Adrian Vermeule Against the World by Mark Barnes. You can find it on newpolity.com.
Awesome. Next question is from Poncho Peanut. Hello. Do you have any advice for new converts?
Yeah, I think what's really important is to just focus on the mass and focus on finding a community to live in, because you can't live the Catholic faith alone to its fullest. And so I would say to like really focus on the Eucharist and focus on people to find that you can live your life with in a real Christian way. And to not be afraid to do that, even if that means, you know, losing some other things. So
Next question is from Chempe. Hello, Thursday. Do you like beer? If the answer is yes,
yeah,
what is your favorite beer?
yeah, I love beer. I like Pabst and I like Yingling. I drink beer, and I still like beer.
I, f- I feel like this is going to happen a lot. You'll answer the question like 5 questions ago, and
Yeah,
then you'll get to... So, to everyone who's posted the question, like Chempe here, apologies, but you'll be able to answer in the live chat later.
yeah.
Next question is from Nico. Hi, Thursday. Top 5 favorite saints or books of the Bible.
Saints, I would go with the Blessed Mother, Jude, Joseph of Cupertino, John Bosco, and Leo the 13th. So,
Good choices.
yeah.
Next question is from Archangel. Hi, Thursday. If you could leave Pints with Aquinas for a gig on any other podcast, which podcast would it be?
Well, I'd have to say New Polity. If I couldn't say New Polity because I used to work for them, I would I I don't know. There's some the Catholic video podcast world especially has some guys that just are like their stuff just looks phenomenal. Um Even like yeah, I mean I'm trying like I really love I don't know, like in the Catholic world, who else would I rather work for? I think it'd have to be New Polity, but like it would be great to get to work with somebody who's already got a really great aesthetic and an established aesthetic. Um, because I think that's important. It's important to look good and to have something that is pleasant to look at.
I guess also on the off chance that Matt sees this, you don't want to worry him. That you're
Oh
gonna
yeah, I mean,
make...
he knows, yeah. Yeah.
Someone in the chat says that the Council of Trent is where he'd go.
The Council of Trent's a sub brand of Catholic Answers. So I guess working for Catholic Answers would be cool. It's just I really like the kind of relationship I have right now where it's a small company and I get to work directly with Matt. So,
Understandable.
yeah.
Next question is from EBG. What's a pet peeve of yours?
My pet peeve is EBG.
Well, I
And
guess you
she
shouldn't have
knows
asked that
that. So,
question.
yeah, she knows it.
All right. Next question is from Rageaholic. Good day, Thursday. Have you or will you appear as a guest on FreedomToons?
I have not. I would, but I doubt I will. Seamus is a cool guy though.
Yeah, he does seem like a very cool guy.
Seamus and I sung the entirety of American Pie together on the way to the airport after his interview.
Next question is from Catholic Pat. What conspiracy theory do you 100% believe?
Oh, uh, 9/11. Uh, the is that's an easy one. The Kennedy assassination is
Yep,
an easy
easy.
one. Um, the election
Epstein.
was 100% stolen. You probably need to bleep that before you put it on YouTube. Epstein, of course. Um, I buy into the adrenochrome theory. Uh, I I think that there are some others that I won't say, but um, the moral of the story of the 20th century is not what you've been told it is. The moral of the 20th century you should really take is that you can be lied to about anything. So, yeah.
Next question is from Vintage. What are your thoughts on G.K. Chesterton's 1908 novel, The Man Who Was Thursday?
Nobody really knows what it means. And that's super cool. But we should all revolt into sanity. So,
I guess that's what you're gonna get, Vintage. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a good one for the conspiracy theory one. I won't say what Kyle said in the chat. Don't read that chat. But I will say there's some so this is a true fact. There were, I believe, 13 men who wanted to start the central bank, the Central Reserve, the Federal Reserve, sorry, in the United States, and they had um, the approval of the president, but two of the 13 were not bought in, and they needed unanimous consent. And those two men died on the Titanic, and none of the other 11 were on it, and they were the 13 like richest men in the country at the time. And then within a couple years, the Federal Reserve was started because they were no longer around to say no. So
So
there are incredibly suspicious circumstances surrounding that make me think something weird happened.
yeah. Next question is from Not a Pro. Have you heard of the hit game Among Us?
Yes, I have heard of the hit game Among Us. I've heard of
Amogus.
it. Amogus. Yeah.
Next question is from Snappiest of Mackerels. When is the earliest acceptable time to play Christmas music?
I think if you there's a specific version of the 12 Days of Christmas. The Reliant K version of 12 Days of Christmas goes so hard. And, if I want to listen to that in July, I'm going to listen to it in July. So, you know, sue me.
I mean, really, if you think about it, the uh, Christmas only begins on the 25th, and liturgically on the evening of the 24th. So maybe we should start playing Christmas music on the 24th.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about obviously you should not be celebrating Christmas before Christmas. I think there's something to that. But saying oh, you can't even listen to Christmas music or people shouldn't listen to it. It's like, dude, just let people like things.
Next question is from Nina Beans. Thank you for taking the time to answer questions. Any advice on vocations? I really wanted to be a sister, already looking into different orders, only to find out my chronic illness would stop me.
Yeah, I'm too young to give advice on this because I'm neither married nor religious. I'd feel like any advice I would give would be um, out of line for me. So I would say you should have a good spiritual director that you should talk to about your vocational discernment if it's something that's troubling you.
Agreed. Also, I think you should keep in mind that Saint Therese herself was very chronically ill, but she was still admitted into the Carmelites. So I don't think it's completely impossible if you have a chronic illness. So I wouldn't be discouraged about that. Next question is from Saint Joseph of Cupertino. Thoughts on the 1994 Honda Civic EG hatchback?
I mean, it's a great car. Hondas are, they're reliable. You could shoot them and they still run. So
I don't know about the specific car he mentioned, but we do own a Honda here, so I can agree with the reliability of the brand.
yeah.
Next question is from Kyle W. What's the best translation?
I use the Knox. That's not about Bibles. I use, but I will answer it as if it was. That's not about. I use the Knox from devotional reading, the and the RSV for apologetics, and I also like to use the Douay Rheims depending on the apologetic application. But Kyle should shut up.
The Knox is very underrated. In fact, I
Yeah,
think it's very underknown.
yeah.
More
It
people
was
should know
the
about the Knox.
translation that the British Conference of Catholic Bishops had used in their liturgies for a long time. That was the original purpose of its translation.
Next question is from David Bestman. Do you relate to Gabriel Syme?
Yeah, I do. I unironically believe that if time travel can exist, it will exist in my lifetime. I will go back in time, meet G.K. Chesterton, and that book will be based on me. So,
Next question is from uh Reigsburg. I can't even pronounce. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. Hi Thursday. What's your favorite day of the week other than Thursday?
Sunday.
Good choice.
It's actually my favorite day of the week, period. I like it more than Thursday.
I guess all the Thursday fans will feel betrayed now.
Yeah, they will. That's fine.
Next question is from Folcall. I'm having difficulty reconciling my nostalgia for video games with my relatively anti-tech opinions and my state in life as an adult man. As a streamer, can you speak to that at all? I miss my video games but don't know how to justify it.
Yeah, it's easy. If you enjoy it and it's leisure for you, you can do it. If it's not taking away from your holiness or from your spiritual life or from your duties as a married man and a father, then you should do it, especially if it's good for your soul, especially if it's good for your leisure. Um, I don't understand the hatred for it. Um, I think it's a fundamental underappreciation. The modern hatred of video games in the trad circles, I think, is a fundamental underappreciation of what it means to have to exist in a culture. Your tastes and temperament is going to be shaped by it. And if you enjoy video games and they're not getting in the way of your holiness, then you should play them. I don't mean like you should be allowed to. I mean that you should. So,
I do think a lot of people just conflate video game addiction with just mere usage of video games.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that completely.
Next question is from a Holy Mage. Also, do you ever chew ice in front of Matt?
No, I don't chew ice in front of Matt. I do leave my ringer on, and every time it goes off, I say, "Uh-oh, Matt hates me," and we have a good chuckle about that. So,
Next question is from Lazana. Hello, Thursday. Thanks for doing the AMA. For my question, if you could have a literal pint with Aquinas, what questions would you ask him?
I think I would ask him about the concept of money, because his concept of money is really interesting, and it's something that we don't talk a lot about in Thomistic circles. So,
I think if I had an opportunity to ask Aquinas something, I would ask him, if you had the opportunity to complete the third part of the Summa, what would you change in comparison to what was in the supplement?
yeah, that's a good question.
Next question is from Felicity. Do you mind sharing how you met Matt Fradd? Also, how did you decide to work with him?
I ran into Matt at Leo's one day because I lived in Steubenville, and I introduced myself to him. That's how we met. What made me decide to work with him? He offered me the job. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I took it. So,
That must feel like it's coming like straight down from the heavens.
yeah, I mean, it did. The circumstances around it are insane. I'd never edited before, but Jacoby mom, whose wood shop I was running at the time, um, knew that I had high technical literacy, and I had met one of his friends, Matt Marcolini, and Matt is Rick Santorum's son-in-law, and he was or is, I don't know if he still is, but at the time he was, I think he still is. Matt Marcolini is the CFO of Little Flower Media, which is a company that is run by John Blevins, who is Ninja's older brother. He's Catholic. And they asked if I could learn to video edit because they needed an entry-level video editor for some stuff they were doing. And I said, "Yeah, sure, I can. I'm sure I can learn to do that." And so I um, opened Premiere Pro and started searching how to do things on YouTube. And then Jacob saw what I was doing, um, and thought it was good, and so he offered to let me edit New Polity instead of outsourcing it like they had been. And he, so I was doing that for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months, and that's when Matt's last producer told him he was going to have to leave because he was getting married. And Matt asked Jacob if he knew anybody in town who knew what they were doing with the video editing, and he said that I was learning it, and I was learning it really fast. And so Matt let me put together a portfolio, and so I put together a portfolio, and then he offered me the job. So, and that
That's
all happened within 2 months.
that must be really awesome. You don't have to do any interviews or resumes or even
I mean, we did
looking for
some
the job.
interviews. We did some interviews, and I mean, the portfolio was to make sure I had, experience, had competency. So,
Next question is from Shellback Bow. What is your stance on the topic of coconut-laden swallows?
African or European?
He didn't specify, so guess means both.
Then I guess I can't answer. It's hard to know the airspeed velocity without knowing if it's African or European.
Next question is from Average Sequel Hater. Awesome name, by the way. Thursday, do you have your own channel? Sob emoji.
I do have my own channel. It's youtube.com/@SteubenThursday. I play video games and rant incoherently about politics.
He'll also have an opportunity to plug near the end with all his social medias, and we'll also include it in the link for or in the description of the video recording of this AMA. So stay tuned for that, guys. Next question is from Ice Boy or Ice King Boy. How do you defend the extra deuterocanonical books?
Um, I normally just ask Protestants where in the Bible the table of contents for the Bible is. I know it's like the base entry level thing, but if somebody's asking me, it's normally because I'm not debating high level theologians. So
Also, Jesus and the apostles used the Septuagint, so they had to have acknowledged the deuterocanonical books.
ah, very good.
Next question is from Flore. Hi, I'm wondering how the calendar guys contacted you about adding your name to the week as one of the days. Must have been a one-of-a-kind letter.
Yeah, it was really interesting. When they sent me a letter, and then we ended up on a call. So it was a weird call, but I didn't think it was going well. But they must have liked my energy because then they flew me out, and so yeah.
Next question is from Daniel Catholic. I think you'll have to look at the questions channel to see this Thursday.
Oh, okay.
What's the deal with that painting Matt is always holding when he takes a picture with a guest?
I'm sorry. What painting?
It's a picture of Matt, and then he's holding this painting of this guy, and
Yeah,
next to
I'm
him
not
is Trent
seeing it.
Horn. You don't
Yeah,
see it on.
I'm not see. I see the picture with Trent and Matt. I just don't see a painting.
Okay, I see. He
I'm
doesn't.
not. I don't know what he's talking about. It's really weird.
Okay, the frame he's holding.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that Matt has his foot on the table, but I'm not sure what you guys are talking about.
Okay. Next question is from Simple Man. Hi, Thursday. Thank you for joining us. What tips have you learned from your personal experience that you would be willing to share in regards to balancing work life and personal life?
Um, it's I don't have a balance, and and uh, so you should have one, is what I do know. But you should also enjoy what you do, so you don't hate yourself, or hate your job. So don't do something you hate. It's because then your balance will also be off. I love what I do, and so my balance is that I go hang out with people, and then when I want to work, and when I want to work more than, I mean, I work every day. I do my job. I work, I'm full time. But if I want to work more, I work more, especially if I'm enjoying what I'm working on. So
Awesome. I mean, I guess it's not really awesome to not have a proper
it's not
schedule,
awesome you should have one. I just don't.
but I guess that means that you enjoy very much what you're doing. So,
Oh, I love what I'm doing. It's so fun.
next question is from Thep. What book have you finished recently that you would recommend?
I mean, I'll recommend Practice of the Presence of God. And I recently reread Centesimus Annus for like the 20th time or whatever, so I'll recommend that. But I will also say that people should like, I haven't finished it recently, but it is an underappreciated, very Catholic novel. That is the Canticle for Leibowitz. So
Another good one is Quo Vadis.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that.
It takes place during the reign of Nero. It's a Catholic novel. Next question is from Tippett's Corner 402. Uh, Two questions. What advice do you have for autistic Catholics such as myself? And would you rather have $10 million or a chance to go back in time with your current knowledge and memories to any age of your choice and grow up again?
Um, I'd rather have $10 million because I
Yeah,
just
same.
give it to I am incredibly happy with where I am in my life right now. I wouldn't trade any of the decisions I've made because they got me here. And the good I could do in Steubenville with $10 million would, yeah, that's pretty easy. As far as the autistic thing, if you're diagnosed autistic, then you should get a spiritual director who also has some psychological training. That way they understand how you're thinking and how you what's helpful for you and what's not going to be helpful. If you're not diagnosed autistic, then you're not autistic. Go outside.
Lots of
So
self-diagnoses on the internet.
that's true.
Next question is from Alex. Hello, Thursday. What is your favorite argument for God's existence?
Anselm's ontological argument. I really like it.
I guess if you tell Aquinas that, he will not
Yeah,
be.
he wouldn't be super pleased, but I like it. It's cool.
Next question is from a human being named Alex. That's confusing. When did you first hear Matt say kangaroo in headlights? Apologies to the person who asked the question because I am not confident in my Australian accent, so I will not say that.
I've
Instead,
never heard Matt say that phrase.
he said kangaroo in headlights instead of deer in headlights.
Yeah, I've never heard him say that.
Interesting. Okay. Next question is from Ethan. Hi, Thursday. Who's your favorite guest you all have had on, and why?
Calvin Robinson, just because we got to hang out a lot. I was actually a chauffeur, and we got to hang out and talk a lot. And yeah, he was super cool. My other one would be Seamus Coughlin and Jonathan Van Maren. Those are the coolest guys.
Calvin Robinson seems like a really cool guy for a
Yeah,
Protestant.
He's a priest. He's an Anglican priest now. So Father Robinson is so cool, and he's just so kind. And he is Protestant, but he truly believes, and I do think that he genuinely believes in Christ and genuinely believes what he's doing is right, and I respect that. and I really love him.
Next question is from Therese. Hello, Thursday. What's your favorite Catholic church or basilica?
I like that I've been to. I don't know. That's hard. The St. Louis Cathedral Basilica is obviously phenomenally gorgeous. Um, I have a soft spot for the TLM diocesan TLM parish in Indianapolis, the Holy Rosary, where I went for a long time. Um, it's also very beautiful. So
I also hear they have an ordinariate parish in Indianapolis.
they have an ordinary community. They don't have their own parish.
Okay, so it's not a not quite developed yet.
Oh, St. Francis de Sales Oratory in St. Louis is also gorgeous. I've been there. And then there's I think it's an FSSP parish in Cleveland that is absolutely breathtaking. I had a friend get married there earlier this year.
That's awesome. Next question is from Urameshi Kun. I'm just gonna rewrite his question for him because this doesn't make any sense. Hello. How can I best defend the papacy against my Orthodox friend?
Um, I don't know. It's not super. I don't know. Apologetics is not really my strong suit. I think the place to start would be your Barro's book. And I also think um, maybe confronting them because with the problem of um, the multiple bishops for single cities in a lot of places because the Orthodox churches can't agree. So
Also, I think the gold standard for Catholic apologetics against Eastern Orthodoxy is Scott Butler and John Colaraffi's book Keys Over the Christian World. So I'd recommend that personally. Next question is from Catholicism. Hey Friday, what's one of the most convincing doubts you've had against Christianity, and what answer did you find that gave you faith?
I've been blessed enough that I have never actually struggled with doubt. I understand it's a thing a lot of people struggle with, and I respect that, but I've never had any doubt. Um, it's just felt secure in the faith and the truth.
I also have had the blessing to not experience doubts like other people. But I think that I think someone ought to do if they have doubts is to just go attend mass every day for an entire week and try to receive the Eucharist every day and see how the Eucharistic grace works in your life. And if there's no change, well, there will be change, but uh, you, y I don't think you will have as strong doubts after you've received the Eucharist, uh, every day for a week and having attended mass every day for a week. You'll definitely feel better in that regard. Next question is from Train Nerd. Hey Thursday, what are some must-have Catholic books besides the Bible, of course? Lol.
Must have, let me turn around and look at my shelf behind me. I will for the third or fourth time now say that you should read Practice of the Presence of God. Um, I also really like um I mean you should own the Catechism, but also the Catechism of the Council of Trent is really good. And The Art of Loving God is also really good. It's done a lot of good in my spiritual life. Yeah.
If I may, I also would suggest the Catholic Catechism by Father John Hardon, one of
I,
the
I haven't heard
greatest
of that.
One of the greatest Jesuits of the 20th century, late 20th century.
The late 20th century? That's a
Yeah.
short list.
Or I guess I would say the entire 20th century, but he lived mostly in the second half of the 20th century.
You know, it's a little longer now, but not super long. I kid. I kid. I kid. I kid. We do a little teasing the Jesuits. It's called We Do a Little Teasing the Jesuits.
Yeah. Anyways, that book, very good. Highly recommend. Next question is from Trade Nerd. Hey Thursday, next question is from Fulgar. Hello Thursday. Thank you so much for doing this AMA for us. I heard that Matt Fradd visited Our Lady of Walsingham, the one in Houston, some time ago, and was talking about his appreciation for the ordinariates. What are your thoughts on the ordinariates?
I think the ordinary is really great. I think, you know, I want to be careful with how I phrase what I'm about to say because it could sound not how I mean it to sound. Um, until, the 1500s, liturgies were allowed to kind of develop naturally. And with the advent of the Protestant Revolution, Rome understandably decided that it needed to be universalized and set out rubrics that could not be broken. And that's how we get the Tridentine form. And at that time, also, we kind of have the settling of a lot of the Eastern rites for, just to follow form with Rome, I guess, is my understanding. I could be incorrect about that. But my belief is that if we hadn't had that circumstance, and that's not, this is why I want to be careful, because I'm not saying that what they did was wrong or they shouldn't have, because I think it was the correct response and an understandable response. But if liturgy had been allowed to just continue to develop naturally, I don't want to say allowed, because that's, sorry, I'm trying to phrase this in a way that's not going to come across like I'm saying Trent did something wrong, because I don't think that. If that hadn't been the case and liturgies had continued natural development, I think the ordinariate is something like what we would expect to see in the English-speaking world. So I really do like it.
I guess what you're trying to say is that what Trent did was necessary for its time, but ideally it wouldn't have been necessary.
Ideally, it would not have been necessary. Yeah, it would not have been necessary because ideally there wouldn't have been a Protestant Reformation. I'm just saying, absent these circumstances, I think this is what the liturgy would look like. Yes, Trent did nothing wrong. Protestants created the problem that had to be solved in that manner. But yeah, so.
Amen. Next question is from Cooper the Great. Hi, what is the best argument Protestants have against Catholicism? And conversely, how do we answer / debunk those answers or those arguments?
I think it's probably just the scandals in the history of the church and things like that. I think the best debunk for it is just that Judas was a disciple. So
Yeah, no
because
offense to Protestants, but I'm not really impressed with Protestant theology.
well, I mean, they're anti-polemics against the church. I'm not impressed with a lot of Protestant theologians. I find very impressive. I mean, a lot of Kierkegaard's stuff is very beautifully written. But as far as like reasons not to be Catholic, I think the best one is the scandals in the church.
Next question is from Amon. Hello Thursday, what happened to your friend Wednesday?
What happened to Wednesday? The Marquis de Saint-Eustache, good guy. Also turned out to be an Englishman, funnily enough, but his French accent was very good. He's also an impressive fencer. I did go a couple rounds with him. I didn't appreciate that he used he was using the prosthetics he had on to appear as the Marquis, to keep himself from bleeding so that I couldn't win by drawing blood first. But as I say, he turned out to be a good Englishman, good detective. So, yeah.
Next question is from Anna H. After lurking on your YouTube Let's Plays, I really
Uh-oh,
want
I
to
remember this
know
question.
what you have against Ronald Reagan and Ben Shapiro. Is it personal?
No, it's not personal. Um,
Libertarianism.
so Reagan, I can boil this down. Reagan um, took the religious right movement and what could have been a really great reignition of Christian politics and convinced 2.5 entire generations, the boomers, the Xers, and about half of the millennials, that capitalism, like that capitalism was a necessary part of having a Christian politics. Um,
Neoliberalism.
yeah, neoliberalism. And I think that is largely responsible for the impotence of conservative politics in America today. Because it creates a situation where we value economic liberalism, which is what capitalism is, equally to Christian politics and a Christian worldview. And it creates the situation we have now where basically all but like maybe two or three of the conservative parties, the quote unquote conservative Republican parties representatives in Congress are okay with gay marriage, and a good plurality of them are okay with abortion up to some point. But it's okay because they want to vote for low taxes, right? Um, and I just think that unless we really confront neoliberalism and specifically economic liberalism as being an enabling weapon of the social degradation we're seeing in the West, unless we're willing to confront that, we are doomed to failure. And I think Reagan, by marrying the religious right movement to this economic liberalism and convincing them that anybody who wasn't for capitalism must be a communist, and that it's a binary. You're either, it's a binary spectrum where you're towards capitalism or you're towards socialism, and that there's no way to get off the spectrum, that there's no other systems. You can have a more socially controlled capitalism, or you can have a more capitalist socialism, but there's no in between. Um,
Distributism.
well, distributism isn't an in between, but it's like it's leaving the spectrum altogether.
Yeah.
I think that Reagan and the Reaganite movement is responsible for that phenomena today. And as a result, it is the reason why we are going to lose the culture war. Um, the Western civilization is going to collapse. It's already over to a certain degree. We're just living in this middle period during the collapse. Um, and I can't think of him as a good president or a good leader because it's so clear to me that he's responsible for so much of the problems in the world today.
From that perspective, rainbow capitalism is not a surprise at all.
No, I think it's inevitable. I think if you allow money to be your motivator, you cannot serve both God and mammon. And if you make concern for how money is treated a quintessential part of your political movement, you're gonna fail. You just are. I don't think there's a way around that. Um, as for Shapiro, I think he's a war hawk and a neoconservative, and I don't think he's loyal to America.
He's just loyal to Israel.
I was hoping to not say that. I think I I just don't, the way he speaks about Israel and the way he speaks about America makes me feel like he loves a foreign country as much as he loves the one he lives in. And as a result, I just don't think you can trust him. And further, and this is a more overarching point. Um, if you want a Christian politics, you should have Christian thought leaders of your political movement. And if your thought leaders reject Christ, then your political movement will not be Christian. So you just shouldn't have non-Christian thought leaders. And I recognize there's some degree of milk before meat, and maybe allowing these guys like Poole, who's an atheist, or Shapiro, who's Orthodox Jewish, or you know, I don't know. There's other guys I can think of who are like Jehovah's Witnesses or you
Hindus.
know Hindus like Vivek. Um, Maybe there's some degree of milk before meat, right? Like I could grant that, but to allow them to be thought leaders for the entire movement and then expect to have a Christian movement, to me, I haven't heard an argument for how that's going to work that doesn't make me chuckle inside. Like I don't laugh at people to their face when they say these arguments to me, obviously. That's not a good way to like have a discussion. But I've never heard an argument for it that didn't make me think like, okay, this person just doesn't understand the nature of politics.
Next question is from Isaac's Z the Raccoon Man. What's up, Thursday? How are you and Brett Cooper doing? Also, have you ever played the game Hollow Knight?
I haven't played Hollow Knight. I've heard it's good. Um, the Brett Cooper meme is so funny. I don't know how it started. I still don't remember. I've never met her. It's my understanding that she's engaged. So the meme is
Yep.
like at this point, like just I don't like it because it's disrespectful to her. So
I mean, even if you say that, people are still going to do it.
I know, but that's like why I've like that's kind of why it died on the show is because she's engaged. So we're kind of like trying to be respectful of that. It's just I don't know.
Next question is from Evo. Is it Thursday yet?
No, I think it's Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday. What's
Okay.
wrong with you, Evo? Next question is from Resident Prot. Greetings, Wednesday. Thoughts on trains?
Friends are cool. You're fine. Sorry about that. Dude, you're okay. I guarantee you're fine. And if you're not, we're gonna make it. Um, Trains are cool. Trains are also the last great mode of transportation that didn't create atomization of our society. Um, Cars are evil. So
Trains, uh, like subways, buses, streetcars, anything
yeah,
but cars.
yeah. Communal transportation. When you individualize, you atomize.
Next question is from Average Sequel Hater. I think this is their second question, but it's fine. Favorite church ever? I think you already answered this too.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so next question is from Brioscade. Today, it seems like almost all secular and even some religious universities have some form of anti-religious sentiment and have become breeding grounds for modern atheism and moral relativism. When would you say this really became the case, and is there any chance, in your opinion, that this will pass, or are we going into an intellectual pit we won't be able to ascend from?
Okay, sorry. I'm gonna look at this question because I need to like. Um, when did that become the case? That's hard to say. Um, I think it becomes the case. I think it's inevitable in the 30s and the 40s, um, when we started to look the other way on communists because we were more concerned about Germany and Japan, and we wanted to be friendly to the USSR. Um, which is partly because FDR was a sympathizer. Um, are we? Is there any chance this will pass? No. Higher education is a captured institution, and I know that I have friends who are listening to this who are in higher education. But I think they would have to agree with me that it's captured, It's too far gone.
It's
Um,
entrenched.
it's entrenched, and we are heading for competency collapse, and we're just going to have to build a new institution, not to compete with it, but to replace it. And we have to just at some point we're just going to have to give it up and cede it. Um, as if we're going, I don't think that means we're going into an intellectual pit we won't be able to ascend from. I just think that we will see something new, and more authentically Christian come about, because the church, the church will not lose, and Christ has already won. So,
Next question is from Benzine. Good day. What's your favorite restaurant in the Steubenville area? For a more serious question, what is the general opinion on Franciscan University students?
my favorite place to eat in the Steubenville area right now is 4th Street Standard. I go there almost every day. When I walk in now, they just make my food. I don't even have to order. It's phenomenal.
A
If you've never
regular.
been a regular at a restaurant, put it on your bucket list. It's so much fun. Dude, it's so great when you walk in and like all of the employees are like, "You want the usual?" And you're like, "Yeah." And then they give it to you, you know? Just I can't even describe the kind of satisfaction that I get from that. Um I, opinions on Franciscan students. I I don't want to I don't I ca-
You don't have to answer them if you don't want to.
I they are all very well intentioned, and they are all trying to be holy, and that is a good thing.
I guess that's the only nice thing you can say about them. Next question is from Sveniscus Demersus. Who's your favorite online Christian creator other than Matt Fradd or Pints with Aquinas as a whole?
Ah, I re he didn't say people creating in the Christian space, so I almost want to give a shout out to somebody totally outside the space, or like say something totally outside the space that I know not a lot of people have heard of. Um, New Polities, I love them. They're doing great work just on the academic side. The guy who is editing now that I've left and aren't am not doing their editing is phenomenal. He also works really hard. He's also self-taught. Um, I will
Just like me,
say
for real.
I will say, I think, I mean, FreedomToons does great stuff. Bearded Blevins, uh, Ninja's older brother, is doing phenomenal work. And he's growing. He's really growing right now, and I really love what he's doing. Alternate History Hub is a Christian. I think he's actually Catholic, I believe.
Yeah,
He
he
just
is.
announced today that they're making a TV show. It's an alternate history of if the last crusade had sailed to Egypt first. Um, so that's super cool. And then as far as stuff in the Catholic space, um, I've been really loving Brian Holdsworth's stuff recently. I just really love that he's so genuine and really trying to figure things out and just being so kind. It's just phenomenal to me.
Next question is from Xtex. Uh, what is in the secret room under the Chiswick pub? And who
You
is
know,
Thursday's top guy?
X-Tex is Thursday's top guy. But I am sworn to secrecy. I took a vow that I would not. I was promised a very entertaining evening, and I received it, and so I cannot tell you what is under the pub. It would be a violation of my oath.
Well, there you go, Xtex. Even if you're the top guy, you won't get the answer to that. Uh, next question is from Koshi. What do you think about the St. Thomas Christians in India?
I don't know anything about them. Are they the ones who are having some problems right now with
One of
certain
them, one of them.
aspects? Is that okay?
The Syro Malabars.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there. I have met an Indian Christian, a guy who was raised Christian in India, in the southern India. I met him when I was the brief time I was in college before I dropped out. He was an exchange student, super great guy. And I've met one other priest who was raised Christian in India, in that same region, and they both really believed. And I will say, living in a culture living in a culture like India that is like so, I mean, it is like entrenched religiously, and it's one of the few cultures in the world that still is, and being a minority religion as a Christian, is just really inspiring to me because I think we are in that place in America, and I'm not sure that we've realized it. I think a lot of us individually have realized it, but I don't know if as like a society we have realized it yet.
As far as I understand with the Syro Malabars, the other St. Thomas Christians are the Syro Malankara, but as far as I understand with the Syro Malabars is that after Vatican II, after the uh, ordinary form, uh, the revised version of the Mass was created, um, the Syro Malabar like clergy took a lot of influence from that reform, and they started to apply it to their liturgy. So they
Oh,
started doing a bunch of stuff that was not traditional for their
yeah, but they
liturgical
didn't have
right.
permission to change their right, did they?
Yes, they didn't. So
Okay.
they started doing stuff like ad orientem, or sorry, versus populum. So that's the big main thing.
Yeah.
So in recent decades, there's been a movement within the Syro-Malabar Church to start returning back to their traditions, because that's what Vatican II called the Eastern Catholics to do. But there's been, especially in one specific diocese in their church, there's been a very concerted effort to oppose the return to ad orientem. So, and in their liturgy, the entire liturgy is ad orientem. The priest never faces the people. So they decided, so there was a big conflict, and they weren't able to get this reform uh, uniform so that they all returned to ad orientem. So they appealed to the Holy See, and Pope Francis basically just started trying to get them to return to their traditions. And eventually he decided, okay, this is the compromise. For the first half of the liturgy of the word, the priest will face the people. And then during the liturgy of the Eucharist, he'll face the altar. But then the people in that diocese are still not happy with that. And from what I've heard from some people, their clergy have been telling the people that facing the east is something from paganism.
Oh, well, don't lie to your people as clergy. That's not a vibe.
So yeah, that's why they're burning effigies of their cardinal and patriarch or whatever.
That's not chill.
Anyways, rant over. Uh, Next question is from Jingle Bell Bubby. Thursday, do you think Easter is a bigger part of the Catholic religion than the Nativity of Jesus?
It should be. I don't think in practice that it is right now.
It should be more important than Christmas,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It should be. I don't think in practice that it is.
as much as I love Christmas.
Yeah.
Next question is from Belly. What is your opinion on the cult of technicality, i.e., technically they can't do X, in Western political discourse, and why are cats the best pets?
Uh, Cats are evil. I hate cats. I'm super allergic. Um, yeah. Uh, so there's this phenomena. What he's describing is this phenomena in politics now, where it's like, well, technically you can't do that, or like, legally we can't do this, and like the problem is that our enemies don't care about the technicality. Um, and so I just they don't care, and they're willing to, like, they don't care if it's legal, they just want to win. And so there's something of the will to power here, which you have to be careful doesn't become Nietzschean. But I will say that, like, to a certain degree, like, this whole, like, recently, a couple weeks ago, there was some statement from the House that there wasn't enough evidence to pursue impeachment of Joe Biden. And I was just, like, really disappointed by that. And the reason is because there wasn't enough evidence to pursue impeachment of Trump, and there's more for Biden. And the fact that they're not willing to play the, there's this, John Doyle has this quote, and he says that, and the quote is, arguing about who the real racists are is the equivalent of arguing about who gets to go first in a game designed for you to lose. And he's talking about like people who are like, well, the Democrats are the real racists because they started slavery and the KKK and this, that, and the other. You know, the current political system is such that you cannot win. You cannot have a Christian polity inside of it. You just can't. It's anti-Christian in its form. And so if we actually want to like achieve the building of the kingdom of heaven here now, like on earth, and we're actually striving for that, which we should be, we're called to by Christ himself. We're going to have to get over these stupid technicalities that everybody is so obsessed with. Like, we're just going to have to get over it. And that's going to mean doing things sometimes that are like in the gray area of the law in politics. And like, I don't care, because the law is not the moral law, you know, and I'm not going to be a legalist about how we protect our culture and how we protect the next generation or how we protect the unborn, you know? Like, there was this thing recently, I don't know if you saw this story. Ohio passed a vote that said that, you know, protected abortion rights after Ohio had outlawed abortion. And the House is talking about, apparently there were some leaks that the House, some of the Republicans in the House had been having discussions about just ignoring the vote. And people freaked out about this. Because technically you can't ignore the vote. Like, that's not how democracy works. That's not how America works. And it's like who cares? Like, they're slaughtering children. You know what I mean? Like, they're killing children. You know, they're you know, like, oh, we shouldn't impeach Joe Biden because it doesn't meet the standard of evidence. It's like, I don't care. They're trying to put their political opponents in jail, and you're not even willing to like give the guy the slap on the wrist that impeachment is in practice. Like, I don't care. And if you think that the other side does, they don't. And if you keep obsessing over this, you're gonna lose, and it's gonna result in Christianity being outlawed within the lifetime of your children. So just get over it and give him, do what needs to be done to protect the unborn, to protect our society, to protect our civilization. Yeah.
There's definitely a tendency to sacrifice the good for the sake of what I would call false modesty or false etiquette. And I would say that behavior is effeminate in the Thomistic sense of the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cowardice.
Yeah, it's cowardice. I think also there's some degree of people where there's something to the fact that people think that they overvalue that you have to obey the law because the law has, and you should obey the law, like morally you should obey the law, but I don't think people understand that certain actions of your opponent can make a law unjust. This is not the church's teaching. I don't think this is anywhere official, but the way I think about this in like metapolitics and philosophy of politics is like, if your enemy is not willing to obey a law that is not itself, like, it's not a natural law, right? It's just like a rule on how the politics are conducted, like impeachment, right? Or like, you know, how classified documents are handled. You know, that law isn't like in itself, like, that's not in the moral law, right? It's not inherently immoral and they're not willing to obey it, but they're going to enforce it on you. I think the law is now unjust. It's unjust of them to enforce it against you and not be willing to obey it themselves. And so at a certain point, the law is irrelevant to that law. Those laws become irrelevant, and you should be willing to, fight the same way you're being fought against.
It becomes a dead letter.
Yeah, it becomes a dead letter. That's completely true.
Next question is from Bananarang. What was the most powerful story you've heard in your time on Pints?
Um, Probably Michael Davies. Michael Davis. Sorry, not Michael Davies. That's a different person. Um, Michael Davis.
Very
He was the
different.
guy who came on to talk about his conversion from Satanism. Either that or one of the stories from Father Carlos Martin. One of the two.
Michael Davis's conversion is a very powerful story, I think. It's an example of God's grace working in even the most resistant minds.
Yeah.
The final question we have submitted, and you guys don't need to submit questions in here anymore because after this
Well, there's the
question,
bonus questions
yeah,
thread too.
so I'm gonna post the link to the bonus question so you guys can start posting questions in there. Even if you've already posted the question, you can post questions in the bonus thread. So go ahead and post them. This last question is from Catholicism. He asks, Thursday, what is your thought on eradicating pit bulls?
Yeah,
Blush emoji.
we pit bulls are not like guns because guns don't have a mind of their own. Pit bulls have a mind of their own. And I'm not saying that you can't train a pit bull. But what I am saying is that if you don't train it properly, it is dangerous and it is a danger to children and your neighbors. And as a result, um, it should not be, you should not be able to, it shouldn't be the case that you can get them like anybody can get them because we can't verify that some people can train them, like that everybody can train them in a way that makes them safe. And even if you do train them and you train them kind of good, there is evidence that pit bulls training can be overridden way easier than any other breed. And so even if you do train it, there's a chance that it is still a dangerous animal. Um,
The
and so
statistics speak for
the
themselves.
statistics speak for themselves. I am unironically of the opinion that that everyday people should not be allowed to own them. And I think that about, like like everyday people shouldn't be allowed to own tigers. You know what I mean? Like you can train a tiger to not kill every child it sees, but do we let like, whatever drug dealer in Detroit wants own a tiger? Like, no, because it's obvious that that person can't train it well, and we can't verify who can train tigers well. So you need to be like, yeah, yeah. I actually think people should not be allowed to own pit bulls.
All right. I'm just gonna skip your question, Wizard, because you just posted it. Go post in the bonus question thread. So we're just gonna move over to the bonus question threads. So everyone in the live audience who wants can ask more questions, since Thursday has generously decided to stay on to answer as many questions as you guys would like. Go post them in the bonus question thread. So the first bonus question is from Pants. What is your favorite Fortnite season, and why is it Chapter 4 Season 2?
That is my favorite season, actually. Chapter 4 Season two's map was phenomenal. The gunplay was extremely balanced, but the guns all still, there was no gun that was not fun to play with. Um, and the the movement was great. The katana was phenomenal. Um, it just was so good. I mean, yeah, honestly, I like there were so many things about it. Just the map itself and the structures and everything were great. And it felt fun to move around in. It was pleasant to look at, but it was still true to what the form of Fortnite is. Yeah.
I saw earlier someone suggested that we play Fortnite together after this
Yeah,
AMA. Two problems. One is that apparently the Fortnite servers are down, and
their scheduled downtime. Yeah.
two is that I've never played Fortnite before. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Next bonus question is from Potato Cream Soup. Thoughts on Wapple?
I have no idea what Wapple is. Is it that is it that emote?
It's the emoji that's an apple with a weird face.
Why? Why do you have it? Explain.
It's a it's basically a server meme at this point.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know. Ask the people on the server why they'd like this emoji. I don't know why they
Somebody in
like
the
it.
chat tell me why Wapple is funny.
I don't know. They think it's peak humor. This is
Looks funny.
this is what people think is humor nowadays.
All right. Okay.
A previous AMA guest has described this apple as a demonic apple.
Who was it?
I think it was Roxy Beckles.
Yo, I like Roxy. She's so cool. I endorse Roxy Beckles. Yeah.
Next bonus question is from Cecil the Seal. Thoughts on screen time for young Catholics 18 and under?
Um, Honestly, as little as possible is what I think is good for them. Um, yeah, but don't make it. And when I say as little as possible, I don't mean none, because the world they will grow up into is one that is very online, and they're going to need to understand how to use it equal with their peers to succeed in life. Um, so yes.
Next question is from Gebs. Why did you choose Thursday as your pseudonym? Why not Wednesday or even Monday?
Yeah, we address that. It's because of the paragraph in The Man Who Was Thursday.
Next question is from Superboard. How's Shadows of Doubt going? What tips would you have for new players of the game?
Shadows of Doubt is phenomenal. Um, they need to fix the drunk mechanic because it just becomes shaky cam. I know what it's supposed to be, but it just becomes shaky cam, and then you actually get nauseous. IRL. But the drunk mechanic is hilarious. Um, Tips for new players of the game: play the tutorial campaign. It's walks you through all the various walks you through all the various mechanics of the game, and the game does have a lot of really, really well designed, very well used mechanics. And they pay them off well, and they earn them, and I think it's good to be you to I think their tutorial is great at making them understood. So yeah, I think you should just play the tutorial level and then have fun with it. The amount of things you can do is just crazy. Have you played Shadows? Are you familiar with this game?
No, never heard of it.
Oh, dude, you gotta play Shadows of
All
Doubt.
right, I'll add it to my Steam wish list.
It's a procedurally generated murder mystery game.
Oh, interesting.
The murders are procedurally generated. The city is procedurally generated. The It's a voxels style art style, so it's actually really cool looking. Um, yeah, and I mean there are some crazy mechanics in the game. And it's really well thought out and really well designed for an indie game. So yeah, I played on stream a lot, and it's so much fun to play with an audience too, because just people, you can do some ridiculous things just for the lulz, and it's funny to do them without telling the audience, like telling the chat what you're about to do, because then they're like, "What? Why did you do that?" Like the other day, I just turned around and beat up a random person, and they were all in shock.
I actually think that I would enjoy that kind of game.
Yeah, it's
So,
so fun. Um, yeah, yeah, you should play Shadows of Doubt. Also, the lore is crazy. Everybody go look up the Wikipedia page for Shadows of Doubt, like the alternate history that the game happens in is crazy.
all right, the next question is from Daniel. Oh, I don't want to read. I don't want to read this question because it's a. I'll read it. Is Jeremy, the server owner and AMA host, a real mystic?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
Okay, that's cool.
Next question is from Pants. Thoughts on cringe Pepe merch?
Mech. It says cringe Pepe mech.
Oh, cringe
Um,
Pepe. Sorry.
it's I think that's really funny. I want who designed that? That is hilarious. I like that one.
It's a bit creepy in my eyes, but next question is from a human being named Alex. Screw tape letters or Great Divorce?
Great Divorce. I like it a lot more. Um, yeah, I like Screw Tape Letters a lot, but Great Divorce I think is better.
Next question is from Ami. Can I eat metaphysical birds?
Um, I think just based on like the nature of the question, no.
It sounds like a pretty contradictory question since birds are not birds are material creatures. There's no such
What
thing
is
as a
a
metaphysical.
metaphysical
Yeah,
bird?
yeah. What does that mean? Does it mean ontological bird? Does it mean a bird that exists in the mind? Uh, an intelligible bird? Like, what does that mean?
What is a metaphysical bird? All right. I have no idea. I don't think so. Are they doing the rubber room meme? That's hilarious. They're doing the rubber room meme in the chat. That's so funny. Crazy.
Next question is from Washington. Thoughts on Halo? I assume he means the game.
Yeah, I don't like it. Freak out in the chat. Cue freak out. I don't think it's good. I don't like it. I didn't grow up with it, and it's fundamentally different from every other shooter in its mechanic, and so I don't enjoy playing it because it's so different.
Well, I know Washington's a really big fan of Halo, so I think he'll be disappointed by that, but he can cope. Next question is from Kyle. Hey, can I come over?
Yeah, my house is a mess. If you promise not to yell at me about how dirty my house is, you can come over, Kyle. Kyle lives like 2 blocks away from me.
Next question is from Belly. How much metal do you listen to? Also, may I come to live in your walls? I will steal your catalytic converter.
Belly, I don't know what it is about Belly. Belly is a member of the Pints server, but he's also one of the guys who watches my streams. And there's something about the jokes he tells that always absolutely tickle me. Um, you can live in my walls. You know you're always welcome, Belly. I would prefer if you didn't steal my cat.
Is that what he meant by catalytic converter?
No, like cat is an abbreviation for
Oh,
catalytic
okay.
converter in like mechanic stuff.
Next question is from Prawn. What is your favorite bug?
My favorite bug, probably the mid 2000s VW. It's a good one. It's a good beetle. The old one has some like nostalgia factor to it, but the mid 2000s one is just so iconic, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So,
Next question is from Gebs. Thoughts on this emoji? It's
ooh,
a
is it
it's
what is it?
Lofton.
Um,
I guess you guys could post in the
yeah, I
live chat.
see it. I'm gonna go with the Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined to that emoji. That's the answer I'm gonna give for that one.
Next question is from the Purgative Way. Skip if this topic has been addressed, but what kinds of solutions would you like to see in Catholic dating in this day and age?
Oh, let's go. I have thoughts. Let's go. I have thoughts. So this is a great question. I'm gonna get yelled at for this because I'm single, so people are gonna tell me that I shouldn't uh be answering this. I think all the chastity speakers, and this is something I said to a married woman who's a friend of mine in town, that all of the talk about guard your heart this, guard your heart that to young women, they've taken it too far and they've encased their heart in a block of cement. And they've made it unnecessarily difficult it's like they're resisting being pursued, right? It's like they don't want to be pursued. And there's one thing where you don't want to be like you don't want to be easy, right? You don't want to be caught easy and you don't want to be like just easily, won over, but you also shouldn't be trying to not be won over. You know what I mean? And I do see that often, and I have been told by married women that they agree with me that is the case in a lot of Catholic dating culture for women. For guys, I mean the Fulton Sheen Eternal Memory TV meme of if you want a based trad wife, my brother, you need to learn to talk to women. Um, like guys do not understand how to talk to women. And they've been told that it's just like, oh, it's just like how you talk to guys. And it's like, no, it's not. Okay. Do not talk to women like how you talk to your boys. It will go poorly for you.
Yeah,
like,
I've seen
like
seen a
it
lot
will
of
go
people do
very
that.
poorly for you. Don't like say the most ridiculous things like that come to your mind.
Yeah,
So
pants, don't do that.
like, and I'm guilty of like talking to women like how I talk to the guys. So, but like, when people are like talking to women, it's just like talking to men, except you're talking to a woman. Just talk to him like how you talk to any guy friend. Treat him like a normal person. It's like, don't do that. Because if you treat a woman how you treat your guy friends, she won't hate you, but she will automatically not want to be with you because you know what I mean?
She doesn't want to be treated as one of the guys.
Yeah. If she wants to be in a relationship with you, she may she may like enjoy being treated like one of the guys, but not if you're trying to like date her. So, yeah.
Next question is from Xtex. What is your favorite meme and why is it women tea?
Oh, it is
We have a
actually the
trigger for
like
this actually. Let's see if the bot will work. No, not in live
the
chat.
women just sipping coffee. I don't know why that is my favorite meme. It is so funny. I laugh out loud every time I see it, even if I'm the one who went and looked it up. There's just something about that meme that like absolutely tickles me. I love it.
Try that again. Live chats. Okay, the bot's not working. I think I can do it in bonus questions though. Let's try it. Women.
Huh.
Okay,
Women.
there we go.
He's drinking from like the full coffee pot. The whole thing is just
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
It's
hilarious.
it's so funny. I don't know why it's so funny.
Next question is from Sasquatch Donuts. I've asked about tomfoolery, but what about Thomas lollygaggery? Thomas son horseplay even. Also, are you going to stay on the server after this as a permanent member, or are you going to leave us in our constant misery?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to the second one. We'll find out. Th- Look, you need to engage in horseplay with the boys. All right, you just have to. You have to have that outlet. it's part of being masculine. You know, you don't just want to be a miserable stoic. So, yeah.
Next question is from Xtex. Explain why we should bring back mummery.
Mummery is cool. I I couldn't explain why we should bring it back, but I do love it, and it's hard. It's one of those things I haven't done enough thought on to answer the question, but it's good to not take ourselves super seriously and to just be have fun and to watch people have fun. So
What is mummery?
mummery is um like doing something ridiculous for as a performance or in a performative way, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, as I said before, you can submit any number of questions in the bonus questions thread. There's no limit, so feel free. Uh, Next question is from Regina. What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
My favorite is flat Earth, although I don't believe it. The reason it's my favorite is because it actually doesn't matter. Like, it's never gonna affect 98% of people. So it's really funny to say that you believe the Earth is flat and watch people get upset about something that is gonna have zero, that does, that has never had, will never have, and does not have any effect on their life. And it is kind of amusing how angry they get about it.
Also, like you see a lot of people, a lot like you have people who just say it to troll, like a lot of people. In fact, I
Yeah,
think the flat Earth society itself trolls. I don't
they
think they
do.
actually believe it.
Some of them do. Yeah. It's just funny. Like, it's just funny. And the whole thing is like the amount of like science nerds and like weird little soy people who get upset about it, like it's gonna personally affect them, is amusing.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I guess if you are someone who's in those fields, you might get salty, but even then
Yeah.
I wouldn't be salty about someone saying
Nah,
something so
nah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Next, yeah. Next question is from Bananarang. Why play Fortnite when you could play Minecraft?
Well, I can play both, but Fortnite is fun. Like, I think battle royales are fun because you boot up and you retry and you restart and you do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. It's a good time.
Oh, and Catholicism says Fortnite is back up now,
Oh,
apparently.
well, only for the next like 2 hours. And I already saw the event, so chapter 5 is gonna be wild, boys.
Next question is from Bunnykins. Does Thursday like bunnies?
Uh, I mean, yeah, they're cute. I don't know if I'm allergic to them or not, so. But they are cute. Also, rabbit is really good. So, cows are also cute, but they tasty. You know what I mean? You know what I'm
Mmm.
saying? You
Mmm.
feeling me, dog?
Chickens are cute, but I love my Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, well, chickens aren't cute. Baby chickens are cute, like chicks are cute,
True,
but
true.
there's a soundbite for you to take out of context.
You heard him, Pants. You go make us short about that. Next question is from uh I don't know. I keep struggling to pronounce this name.
Yeah, I can't say that.
Sphenicus Demursus. How do you feel about Redeem Zoomer? He did his Reconquista thing. I actually found out about Pints with Aquinas from him mentioning it.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull. I know Redeemed Zoomer is like a non-YouTube channel on Christianity. I know he's Protestant.
I think he does
What?
have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's his primary thing. He's got 250,000 subscribers. What is the Reconquista thing he did?
I heard of it, but I don't really watch Redeem Zoomer. I don't really know much about him.
I
I
don't
just
watch his content. He's Presbyterian.
I just know he's a Protestant, and it's kind of ironic for him to have an event called Reconquista, which was a Catholic
I
thing.
don't know what his Reconquista was. Yeah, I'm not sure. If somebody in the chat wants to explain what the Reconquista is, I guess I'll give my initial opinion on it, but I don't have. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I guess no one else knows it, so
Nobody is explaining it, so I guess we'll just move on.
yeah. Oh, Svenicus Demursus says, uh, it's a plan to take back the mainline churches from the
Oh,
liberals.
from the liberals. Oh, eh.
I mean, those churches should just
Thinking
die out.
about thinking about theology and religion in a way that's like take back this, take back that, win this back, do this thing is just not a super healthy way to interact with your faith.
Also, at that point, like just like the universities, the mainline churches are already entrenched with their ideology, so
Yeah,
you're not taking them back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody just posted a picture of a very cute calf in the AMA live stream, and
Veal.
I bet that veal is tasty. And you know what also would be what he would be good for? I mean, he's adorable. I would pet that cow, but also I would pay a lot of money for his skin as a wallet. So,
And pay for that veal.
yeah, yeah.
Next question is from Bunnykins again. If you like
It's
bunnies, what
this.
bunny is your favorite kind?
I don't know. What's the really big one with the giant ears? That one's
Oh,
kind of funny. That
the
one's funny looking.
that one from like the Netherlands, I think,
Yeah, that
or
one's
Belgium,
funny
something like that.
looking. I don't know what it's called, but
Flemish,
it's
yeah,
funny
Flemish
looking.
giants.
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, they're funny looking. I like them.
Next question is from a human being named Alex. Thoughts on EVs?
Um, yeah, I'm not like inherently anti-EV like how a lot of the right is. I think cars are bad. Um, like I'm anti-car, but as far as like as a hobby thing, I don't think it's as cool as the car. I really like the mechanical nature of it. And also, I'm not a huge fan of the fact that you actually can like not own an EV in the same way that you can own a car. That you own like a gas vehicle. You're just gonna get like they can shut it down and they can control it remotely and yeah.
Also, I don't think EVs are the best solution for either urban planning or ecological concerns.
Yeah, I don't think they actually serve to solve the problems that they say they do, and also they're still cars, and I'm anti-car. If there's any Irish people around who would like to help me in my crusade against cars, please let me know. Jeremy didn't get the joke. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, sorry. Next question is from Pence. What was the absolute worst Fortnite season and why?
Of the ones I've played, the last season of Chapter 3 was my least favorite.
Okay, Regina in the chat. Just because I laugh at the jokes I get, okay? I can't laugh at the jokes I don't get.
Fine, it's fine. It was a joke about Irish car bombs.
Oh, okay. 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 Next question is from Kyle. What do you think about the trad versus post-trad conflicts online?
Yeah, I want to be careful because I don't want to make because I'm friendly with people on kind of both sides of this. My current concern is that there is a misunderstanding of there's a misunderstanding in some of the post-trad, especially like Mike Lewis, that while some of the things Francis is doing may be illicit and he may have good reasons to do them, the laity are not even absent guys like Marshall and Kennedy Hall or Church Militant or you know whoever else is in the rad trad circles now, even absent those guys, the laity just getting headlines or just getting news stories, even if they're not following those guys, are gonna see things that are worrying to them. And I think the way a lot of the post trads are doing their work right now or doing their response while it is well intentioned, serves to delegitimize concerns and tell people that they're crazy for having concerns. And it's okay to be concerned. And it's okay to have questions. And it is not helpful to tell people or to treat people as if they are insane, to gaslight them if they are concerned. That's not helpful, it's not charitable, it's not pastoral, and it's not how you win them over to your thinking. That being said, I think a lot of the traditionalists are getting to a point where they're ascribing motives to the post-trads, who I think, while doing some things that are unhelpful, are actually well-intentioned. They're ascribing malintent to them without evidence of there being malintent. They're just, maybe making some missteps. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, where I think that, like, one, I think we have a lot of ascribing motive and assuming malice of fellow Christians, which I'm not okay with, and we definitely have it on both sides. And two, I think we are at a point where both sides are at, like, sometimes just blatantly gaslighting each other, and it's really upsetting to me. So, yeah.
Next question is keep having to scroll up here. Uh, Next question is from Gebs. Follow-up question after the dating question. YD WY. I don't even know what this acronym is. Uh,
Don't worry about don't worry about that.
about Brett
Yeah, don't
Cooper.
worry
Is
about
she
that
the
question.
female? Okay.
I have no idea what that means, and it was funny before. I think it's just disrespectful to her now, especially because it's, like, public that she's in a committed relationship preparing for marriage. Even though she's not Christian or Catholic, I think we should respect the civil institution of marriage as something that's important. So,
And I guess the second question is she the female version of Ben Shapiro?
yeah, she is.
Okay. Next question is Daniel. It's from Daniel.
Above that.
Cement. Say it normal, please, man.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Cement. I'm not saying the other thing. I think the next
Uh
question is all the way down to Washington, the Advent fan.
oh yeah, this is where people just start talking in here.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Lego?
I like Lego. One of my favorite things to do is to buy Lego sets and to watch old movies. Um, so I have a Lego model of BD1 from Fallen Order and Survivor, um, that I built while watching Citizen Kane and Casablanca. It was a good evening, pleasant afternoon.
I think people don't realize that Legos are pretty stimulating actually. They're not like non-stimulating because it requires a lot of it's kind of like it's not meant to be problem solving, but you need to like figure out how to put the pieces in the right place.
Yeah.
Next question is from Daniel. Yo, I'm an artist and I've been doing a saint portrait series. Who would be a cool saint to draw?
Um, who's the one who has head chopped off and he picked it up and started preaching?
Uh, Anyone in the live chat know? Oh, Saint Denis.
Saint
That's right.
Denis. You should do Saint Denis. It would be really cool to have a picture of, like, the headless corpse holding the head. That'd be super fun.
Next question is from Poncho Peanut. How do I tie a tie? Please help. I have a poorly tied tie around my neck right now. I'm so confused.
It's pretty easy. You should just look up some. I wouldn't go to YouTube videos because they're actually strangely confusing. If you Google how do I tie a tie and then go to images,
Yeah, there's
the
like
little,
nice
like,
graphics.
the graphics are actually more helpful for people learning than the videos are.
I mean, like, you should by adulthood, you should know how to tie a tie as a man.
Yeah. Also, if anybody if people who wear fake ties are not people to be respected.
Yeah, feminine.
Including fake bow ties. Bow ties are actually easier to tie than neckties. It's literally a shoelace knot.
Next question is from Kyle. Which mass you going to tomorrow?
Probably 8 a.m. because I want to grind Fortnite all day.
Next question is from Anna H. What is the best Halloween candy? Do you like spicy candy?
Probably Reese's Cups. No, I don't like anything spicy. It doesn't sit well with my stomach.
It's funny you mentioned that Reese's Cups. Uh, recently had someone come back from the States, brought Trader Joe's peanut butter cups, dark chocolate. Those are really good. I recommend if you haven't tried them. Next
Okay.
question is from Ami. What's your go-to Fortnite emote?
Um, my money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle. Faux show. 6'2" in a compact. Yeah. It's so funny. Sipping that red wine. All right. Anyway, I
Next question.
apologize for my
Yeah.
outbursts.
No, that was funny. Next question is from Regina. Oh, you literally answered this like 3 times already
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah. I
beer.
like Paps and I like Yingling.
Next
Oh, you know what
question.
is good, but
Yeah.
it's hard. You can't get it everywhere in the world. If you live in the Ohio Valley or in like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, you should try to find Duclaws. It's a craft brewery, but they have one that is a that is a plain white label with black text, and it says beer that tastes like beer, and that is phenomenal.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Next question is from Washington. Thoughts on Pingu?
I don't have any thoughts on Pingu. I know what Pingu is. I just don't have thoughts on it.
It's probably best you don't indulge that question.
Yeah.
Next question is from Sphenicus Demursus. Would you rather have a horse society than a car society?
Yes. And part of the reason for this is people don't realize this. If you've thought about this before, it's evident to you. You've probably thought about this or heard somebody say it. But the faster our methods of travel get, the smaller the world gets, and the harder it actually becomes to build communities. Because I'm sitting in Steubenville, Ohio right now. The time it takes me to get to Pittsburgh with my car is less time than it takes me to walk to downtown Steubenville on my feet. The time it would have taken me to get to Pittsburgh 200 years ago, I can get to California quicker today. Um,
It's
the
definitely
war
perverse.
the world shrinks when our travel gets faster, and it breaks down our communities. Um, and so if only for the case that the world would become smaller, would become bigger again, and communities would become more reliant on each other again, because we wouldn't be able to go to some place 100 miles away in the same day. Yeah, I think horses would be better.
It's definitely perverse the way that you can travel in those ways compared to the past and thus destroy community.
Yeah, yeah.
Next question is from Ami. What's the best fruit and why is it mango/orange?
The best, I like pineapples. Pineapples are the best fruit. I like the flavor of pineapple. Pineapple juice is great. Yeah.
Oh, we have someone on the server uh, whose public persona is a pineapple, so I guess you'll be happy about that.
Interesting.
Next question is from Sasquatch Donut. What's your favorite food and what is your favorite type of cuisine?
My favorite food is probably my mother's chicken Alfredo. I hope she makes it for me when I'm home for Christmas in a couple weeks. I probably will text her and ask her for it specifically beforehand. Um, my favorite kind of cuisine is probably Italian.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had a feeling when you said that you liked pasta a lot.
I really like pasta. I have a oh, almost Custicus. I have a kick-tail recipe for gnocchi that I make pretty often. So,
Mm. Next question is from Wait, didn't he ask this already? Which Fortnite season you hated the
Which
most?
is the worst? No, he liked which
Yeah.
one. He asked which one I thought the best was. Oh yeah,
Okay.
follow up on the worst season. Why? Uh, I was just new to the game then. Yeah, that's why.
Next question is from Ethan. What are your thoughts on stouts in general, in relation to beer, in case it's not immediately obvious?
I like stouts. I don't like them as much as I like simple lagers because they're heavier. And when I'm drinking beer, I like to drink it. Um, it's not like when I'm sitting down to have alcohol or like sitting down with friends to drink,
I want to relax.
I'll have a liquor or something like that's harder, like a harder liquor. And when I'm sitting down to just like have a drink, and I decide that I want some kind of alcohol or I want to have something with a meal and I go to a beer, I don't like when it's heavy and it sits heavy in my stomach. But I do like stouts. There are plenty of great stouts that I will have. Um, there's like some nitro milk stouts that are great, but when I drink beer, it's normally because I'm looking for something to drink with along with food or to drink casually, and so beer is not as good.
Wine.
Yeah, wine is another great one, dude. Yeah, red wine is phenomenal.
Next question is from Svenicus Demursus. He likes asking bonus questions. What do you wear when recording Pints with Aquinas episodes? Anything special?
No, I try to uh dress presentably. I try to either wear sweaters or shirts with buttons. Um, some days if I'm just going to be recording and that's all I'm going to be doing that day, I'll just wear a hoodie and some like jeans, but uh yeah, nothing special. There's nothing like I don't have like a shirt that I always wear. So,
So I guess the profile picture is pretty accurate then.
yeah, the profile picture is from an episode of Pints, in case that's not immediately obvious. That's from one of the AMAs that Matt and I did together.
Next question is from Xtex. Opinions on people who avoid alcohol entirely but don't have a drinking problem.
I have immense respect for them. My One of the men I respect most in the world is my old roommate who got married this year. And
Congratulations to
his
him.
yeah, congratulations to him. His grandfather, his grandfather's family had some drinking problems, and so he took an oath of sobriety even though he himself didn't have a drinking problem, and he dedicated the lifelong sobriety to his grandson. When was or oh shoot, can Lace edit that out for me? He's a really private person. To my friend when he was born, he dedicated that sobriety to him. And so he does not drink. One of the most touching moments from his wedding was at the reception. He's never had a drink before. And at the reception, he got up to do the groom's toast. Um, and he had a champagne, and he gave his toast to his bride, his beautiful woman, and to his best man, and to his family and his friends who were there. And the last thing he said was to my grandfather, and he said his name, and then he drank the champagne. That was the first and only drink he's ever had in his life. Um,
Amen.
I I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional right now. I love that man so much. He is such a holy guy, and he has done so much for me, and I've gotten to do so much for him. So, um, I I like alcohol. I like drinking it. I don't have a problem, and so I drink it often. I drink pretty much every day, just a drink or two. Um, but men who don't drink and anybody who doesn't drink because they want to just not participate in that, um, yeah, it's not something I think I could do in Steubenville. And the fact that he lives in Steubenville is even more impressive to me. Just with all the social interactions and the social things that happen where alcohol is present, I would not want to have to not participate. So yeah, I have immense respect for those people. I have another friend um, who is taken a Nazarite vow while he's in med school, so for the next couple years. So he did drink before, and I think he plans to drink after med school, but he did take a Nazarite vow while he's in med school because he's going to med school specifically so that he can do things for Catholic charities. So, yeah,
Does he grow out his hair?
he is growing his hair out. Yeah,
That's pretty based.
yeah. That guy also, I love him. If he hears this, I think he probably will later. That second guy, I love you, buddy.
Next question is from Ami. Have you ever seen the funniest Canadian brand No Name? If not, look at their products.
No name.
Yeah, literally the brand is called No Name. It's like yellow. It's a yellow background and it's like black text that
Oh, is
just
this
says
just
No
like
Name.
a is this just like a generic brand that happens in Canada?
Yeah.
And they just have like what the thing is on all the stuff?
Yeah, and it just like the brand name is literally just No Name.
Well, I mean that's kind of amusing, but also I will say I'm against brand minimalism. I wish we could get back like the 1950s and 60s logos that were like beautifully drawn art pieces in of themselves. So,
With like Spencerian writing.
yes, yeah. Yeah. Like have you ever seen the original GE logo? Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's like that's so much better than the one they have now. That kind of stuff is like, yeah, yeah. So that's a funny concept, but also I don't like brand minimalism.
Next question is from a human being named Alex. If you were to start a brewery, what would you call it?
You know, I don't think I would, but I will shout out a friend of mine in town who's starting a brewery and working on it right now. I won't say his name, but he calls it St. Ambrose Brewing. So,
Based.
yeah.
Next question is from Daniel. Are you a Steelers fan?
No, I'm a Colts fan. I grew up in Indianapolis, so I grew up in Indianapolis during the Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck eras, so it's impossible to not be a Colts fan, actually. Um, yeah. Uh, the Colts are currently in the playoffs. Right now, I think they're like the seventh seed. Um, if the Colts miss the playoffs by one game, which is pretty likely right now, I'm going to be livid because the league has admitted to Jim Irsay that the game we lost against the Browns, we lost because of two horrid miscalls in a row. So, if we miss the playoffs by one game, it's literally because the refs were so bad that the league called the team's owner and apologized. So I will lose my mind.
Next question is from Gebs. Thoughts on durian?
Durian, like the fruit?
Yeah, the stinky fruit.
Yeah, it smells bad. That's my thoughts on it. Apparently it smells bad. Never had it. Apparently it smells bad, but it tastes good. So,
Oh, Gebs, there's your answer. Next question is from Kyle. What's a question you were hoping someone would ask but hasn't? What's the solution?
um, it's a good question. I think I've gotten to address all my favorite things. I think one of the things um that I was thinking about recently is well, I don't want to actually I don't want to say that. What's a question I was hoping I could ask? I don't think I had any specific ones. If I think of something, I'll come back to it. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds good. We're almost nearing the end of the bonus questions, it seems, as well.
Okay.
Next question is from Sasquatch Donut. Thoughts on fishing, hiking, gardening, even just touching grass? I don't know.
Yeah, you should do it. You should go out and be in the outside world where you were made to be. Um, if you're not, yeah.
Well, you heard it, Sasquatch. Go outside. Next question is from Ethan. Have you tried Evan Williams eggnog?
I have. It's pretty good actually. Um, yeah, yeah, it's pretty good actually.
I'm planning to make eggnog for Christmas, so maybe I should
From
get that
scratch?
recipe. Yeah.
Evan Williams is a brand. Evan
Oh.
Williams is a bourbon brand.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Well, there's a liquor store very close to my house, so I guess I could buy that.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Next question is,
Belly, I
yeah,
think.
Belly. If you had a choice, would you learn French or German, or would you take the plunge into an odder language like Polish?
Between French or German or an odder language. I think I'd learn German. Yeah, I think I'd learn German. I I I would like to be able to read um Benedict in his native language. That would be cool.
It
And
would be
also
cool.
getting to read like Storm of Steel and All Quiet on the Western Front in the original language. Um, that would be super awesome. Um, Mueller's written some books that were originally in German that I think are good, getting to read them. Um, yeah, I mean also just all of the Austrian stuff, like getting the opportunity to understand like Mozart's uh operas. I know a lot of them were in Latin, but think some of them uh I think some of them are in German. A lot of operas in German. There's a lot of the fairy tales that were originally written in German. Yeah.
Whenever someone brings up German, I just think of the meme of where it's like the Roman soldier like leaning back and it just says absolutely barbaric.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Younger? Yeah, sorry. Belly's pointing out Younger in the comments. Of course, Younger would be awesome. Yeah. There's all kinds of really great literature in German that appeals to me personally. I'm sure there's great stuff in French too, but it just doesn't appeal to me personally as much.
Let's see, we're almost done the bonus questions. I think we've exhausted this for the most part. Uh,
Have you ever read The Silmarillion?
yep. Have you ever read the Silmarillion? If so, who is your favorite character from it?
I have not, besides the creation account, so I cannot answer that, unfortunately. Um,
If you ever have
but
the
it
time,
is,
you should read it.
yeah, okay.
Next
Quite.
question. Oh,
No, go ahead.
next question is from Sveniscus Demursus. Any odd Christmas traditions you do?
Yeah, every Christmas we decorate the tree together, and my dad tells the story of my parents' first date.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Next question. Oh,
He bought a Christmas ornament on their first date, and it's one of the ornaments we hang on the tree. So he tells the story every year.
next question is from the Purgative Way. Also, do you ever plan to visit Australia?
No, I could talk about this. This is actually kind of an interesting topic. Um, I don't, are you familiar with achadia? Like the
Yeah,
concept of achadia?
yeah, the Vice.
Yeah, the vice achadia, spiritual or mental sloth and apathy, and it's also related to wanderlust, which is this like longing to just wander aimlessly. And it's kind of related, and the reason they're related is because the mental sloth and the uncontentment with where you are in your life, the like lack of contentment with your station in life or your place in life or what you're doing now, and the desire to go be somewhere else, it's just not good for a soul. And it's also not good for young men, because it's not helpful to building communities and rebuilding societies or building societies over again. So I don't actually like traveling. I don't like going anywhere. I rarely go to Pittsburgh. It's only 40 minutes from Steubenville. Um, yeah.
So you wouldn't go to Australia even if Matt invited you to go with him?
No, if he told me that wanted me to, like he needed me for work, I would go in a heartbeat. I'd do whatever he needed me to do. But like on like Like for my own pleasure? No. I'm content where I am. I have no desire to travel like anywhere.
Next question is I'm gonna skip Lace's one there. I think oh, Pancho Pina asks, should I wear a suit to mass?
Yes, you should. You should, you are in the presence of the King of the universe. You should present yourself as such.
If I owned a lot of suits like that, I would do that. Wear whatever is the most formal clothing you own.
Yes. But also, if you don't own a suit, you should go buy one as a man. Even if it's like a cheap one from like J.C. Penney or whatever, you should own a suit as a man. And women should own a formal dress. You don't need a
N-
tuxedo or something, but you need to be able to dress nice. You need to be able to dress to your society's standards of presentability.
Next question is from Sasquatch Donut. Are you an incense hater or lover?
Oh, lover, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I love incense. I understand that some people are allergic, but one of the things I love to say is that exception makes bad law.
Yeah.
And so when we're making rules, we should not consider the exceptions, not because we don't care about them, but because if you make rules from the exception, you will never achieve the standard. And if the standard of a reverent Western liturgy or any liturgy in the East, they use incense too. If the standard of reverent worship is that there is incense involved, we should make our laws such and then add in exceptions later. So if you're somebody who thinks incense is inappropriate for the Mass because some people may be allergic, I think you fundamentally misunderstand the purpose of making rubrics for liturgy.
This is also, I think, the same problem with the modern fasting and abstinence rules. Like, we've just degenerated the rules to such a degree that you only
Yes,
need to
not
fast two
everybody
days
can
a year.
fast. Not only and well that, but also the mass fasting rules, right?
Yeah, one
Like say
hour.
what you want about like the like rad trad movement, but I think they're right about the mass fasting rules, right? Because it used to be midnight to before midnight, right?
Mhm.
And then it would be like, well, some people go to a we made an exception for people who can't go on Sunday to go on the vigil. So it's unreasonable to expect them to fast all the way through Saturday. So let's make it 3 hours. And then it was like, well, there's so many people in a lot of these places that we have so many masses. And 3 hours, might be too long for some people. So let's make it 1 hour. And now, like in practice, it's 1 hour before you receive the Eucharist. It's not even 1 hour before Mass starts. So when I mean, communion in the hand is an example of this, right? It was an exception that was just taken over and over and over, and now it's the norm in a lot of places. So this goes back to what I said earlier. If you should treat the exception as the exception and the norm as the norm. Um, and if you make laws from the exception, you're not going to have good laws.
Amen. Uh, Second last question from Svenicus Demursus. Do you want to go to the Holy Land?
Yeah, that's the one exception, is I'd like to visit the Holy Land eventually. That's the one exception to traveling, is I'd like to visit the Holy Land.
And I assume not right now, but when there's more peace there.
Uh, yeah, obviously, yeah, I don't want to yeah, I would like to visit the Holy Land, but I'd also actually like to, on that trip, visit some of the Christian communities in the Gaza Strip and in Palestine, because a lot of what they're going through is really hard, and I'd love to see how they live. I think that would be really inspiring.
Amen. Uh, well, looks like a few more people are typing, so we'll have a few more questions. Lurker asks, thoughts on thoughts.
I think a lot. I guess I could say something interesting. Nobody's gonna care about this. Um, no, literally nobody's gonna care. Um, so when I think in concepts. So like some people are visual thinkers and some people are verbal thinkers or somewhere in between. my thoughts oftentimes occur to me in whole concepts. And then like paragraphs. And then when I'm speaking, I'm like trying to parse out what the concept that I'm thinking of is. It's a nonverbal conceptual understanding in my head. So, and I know that's kind of rare for a lot of people. So I think a lot about how to communicate what I mean well, because when I think things sometimes and then I go to speak them, I don't say things well because I don't think the way a lot of other people do.
I guess another way you could answer the question is just appeal to Aquinas. Aquinas gives a thorough explanation of the intellectual faculties and the different operations of the intellect. So go read the Summa and
Yeah,
stop
that's
contemplating your
true.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Gebs asks, "Are you tired? Do you want to go to sleep or keep going for the AMA?"
I'm not tired. We can keep going as long as you guys have questions to ask. I'm just vibing. I figured this would be late, so this is the last thing I plan to do for the day. So whatever you guys want, I'm
I
yours.
I do think we've exhausted most of the questions.
Yeah.
Xtex asks, "Despite all the joke questions sprinkled in, I have learned a lot from this AMA and would like to thank Thursday and everyone who asked questions for making this such an informative experience." Oh, sorry, that wasn't a question.
Yeah, but it was nice. He said a nice thing about me. He doesn't do that often anymore. He's gotten too comfortable. He's just mean to me all the time now.
He's too comfortable in his role as the top guy.
He's too comfortable. He's just mean to me now all the time. All kidding aside, I do like Xtex. He's a good guy. Um, yeah. Thoughts on homeschooling? Oh yeah, Anna H said thoughts on homeschooling. Homeschooling is great. It's also the natural way to like the children were educated. It's the normative way of educating children in Christendom. Um, and so I have this kind of principle in the way that I think about the world is I try to think about how Christendom, when the world was thoroughly Catholic and united, how that society operated and look at the difference between that and how our current society looks. Um, and I err on the side of Christendom. And with that in mind, I think homeschooling is a good thing because I think it's the normative method of educating a child.
Also, like if you read like the older like theology manuals, like moral theology manuals, and they discuss education, not only do they say that uh that the primary educators are the parents, but they also say that public education is actually a cope. It's a plan by secular authorities to basically indoctrinate the people into uh the ideology of the state. That's their
Yeah, isn't
purpose.
isn't that in the permanent instruction of the Alta Vendita?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
I think it is. It's either in that or another similar like pseudo Masonic or proto Masonic document.
I do know that the teaching that is what uh why public education, like uh education that's completely controlled by the state, uh why that should be opposed. I do know that Paul VI, his solution for uh in order to educate the populace without the government controlling the education, was to have subsidies. I forgot which document it was, but I remember one of those documents on education, Paul VI, that was his solution that he recommended.
That's probably Populorum Progressivum. Don't quote me on that, but it's probably that one because that's the one he has on social teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question is from Pants. Top 5 guests on Pints off the top of your head.
Uh, Calvin Robinson, Jonathan Van Maren, Seamus Coughlin. Um, uh, there's a lady that we just had on. That episode's coming out next week. I'm not gonna spoil that. Um, what is that? 4. Number 5, Jason Everett, when he came on to talk about his book, Male and Female, Male and Female, or Male Female Other.
Belly asks, would you go to Hassan Piker's house?
Yeah, in Los Angeles. I'm coming to your house in Los Angeles to kill you. In the ring? No, in real life. That's a Sam Hyde bit. That's all a joke, in case that's not clear.
Yeah. Next question is from Svenicus Demursus. What's your YouTube channel again? This will be answered later, so we can just skip
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Is that Sam Hyde and react? Okay. Pants. What Bible verse or writing of some saint has made you fear hell the most? For me, it was Alphonsus Liguri.
The quotes of Basil and Gregory the Great, which both, well, I think it's from Basil, that says, if you have 2 coats, you've stolen one from the poor. And then Gregory says something also to the effect of, if you have excess, you have stolen it from the poor. Those 2 have done so for me because um, they're clearly a teaching on the corporal works of mercy and on the sheep and the goats. Like, they clearly relate to that, right? Like clothing the poor, feeding the poor, visiting the imprisoned. And those are the things that I know I'm going to be judged on. And those quotes and their extremity and the fact that they are not walked back and just that is the standard really, like, strikes me to my heart because I worry that I'm not living up to that standard, that I do have excess and that I am taking it from the poor in that.
I guess another good author to make you fear hell, if you don't have sufficient fear, is Augustine.
Okay, I haven't read his stuff on hell.
Next question is from Anonymous. Thursday. This may have been asked before, but what is your favorite confirmed apparition of Our Lady? Things like Lourdes, Mount Carmel, Fatima, the sort.
Um, I like Fatima. I think Fatima is important. I also like Akita. Um, yeah, I appreciate the call to action in them. Yeah.
Yeah, Fatima is probably the most important apparition of Our Lady, in my opinion.
Yeah, Akita is a follow-up on that though. So, if you like Fatima and if you've been struck to your core by Fatima, definitely look up Akita and read that because she explicitly says that it's like you guys didn't listen. So,
Pants asks, if you had to tag team debate some leftist duo, who would you choose as your partner? Bonus points if you choose John Doyle.
dude, does this guy watch me? Like, do I know this guy? That's what I was gonna say. I would have said Doyle.
I think Doyle's a good choice.
I would say Doyle. I feel like Doyle and I on any topic against a leftist would be. I
Let's
don't
go
think anybody.
neo-Gastinists.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could stand against Doyle and I if we put our minds to it. Yeah.
Master Adam asks, Thursday, a friend asked me to say this, but they think you're a catch.
Yo,
I'm guessing this is
that's
I guess it's a
really
female.
funny.
I think this is a female friend actually. So
I hope so. It'd be really weird if it wasn't. That's funny. Yo, if they're in Steubenville, hit me up.
Poncho Pina asks, red tie, black suit, white shirt, or black tie, black suit, white shirt.
Depends on the occasion. I actually normally go with navy suit, um, neutral shirt, and then accent tie.
Also, isn't like a pitch black suit just for a funeral? Like you get
Traditionally that's what it was, but it's one of the go-tos now. I think I like navy better for like formal occasions.
Oh yeah, Pan says in reaction to "Do you watch me?" He says, "Yes, I do watch you. I was the one who messed with you about your farting on stream."
Oh, yes, that was. Did I fart on? Oh yeah, I did the other day. I remember that now. That was funny.
Next question is from a human being named Alex. How do you feel about the alleged apparition at Medjugorje? It's demonic.
I'm not convinced that it's demonic. I do think people need to be careful and they need to obey the Vatican's instructions on the matter. If you want my thoughts on it, there are two videos on Pints you can watch. If you just search Pints with Aquinas Medjugorje, you'll see two of them on it.
There's a lot of sketchy stuff involving the local Franciscans there
Yes, there
and
is. Yep.
politics.
I will also say, and you can cut this if you don't want this in later. E. Michael Jones' documentary that he did in the early 90s on Medjugorje is phenomenal. You can say whatever you want about his other stuff, but his Medjugorje documentary from the early 90s is phenomenal. Feel free to cut that later if you want,
No,
but
you don't need to cut it, it's fine.
okay. Yeah, you could say, I mean, people can say whatever they want about his other stuff, and I know that there are some things that even I don't agree with in there, but the Medjugorje documentary is very well made, and I think an honest examination.
Okay, so this Mortalium guy has been typing this question for the last 20 minutes, so he's finally posted it. He has a few questions, it looks like. Next question is from Xtex. Aside from Dear Other, what are some of your favorite bands?
Okay, everybody go listen to Dear Other. Dear Other is a band based in Steubenville, Ohio. Just put in Dear Other on Spotify. Listen to the albums. Listen to them in order. They're made to be listened to in order, like how music was in the good old days. It's phenomenal music. It's my favorite band. Everybody should go listen to them. Some of my other favorite bands, I like Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. And I like Reliant K. I really like Blink 182, and Fulton Lee is really good.
What about Sabaton?
I've listened to like two or three of their songs. I'm not big on metal.
Oof. Next question is from Svenicus Demersis. Should I accept the Eucharist on the tongue, or should people in general accept it on the tongue? Yes.
Yeah, I tend to agree with, and I'm not just saying this because he's my boss, but I tend to agree with Matt Fradd. I tend to agree with Matt that we should make a concerted effort to do away with communion in the hand outside of very rare exceptions in an effort to reignite reverence for the Eucharist.
Obviously, receiving on the hand is not evil,
No, I'm
because
not
that's
saying
what
it
the
is. I'm just
right,
saying
right,
I think it would be better for the church if we did away with it.
right. I agree. I was just adding some context for people.
Yeah.
Um, Next question is from Banana Rang. Favorite YouTuber to watch just for fun?
Marquez Brownlee is my favorite creator. He is still the goal. Marquez Brownlees are the best edited videos on YouTube, and as a video editor, when I watch them, I am blown away every single time. Some of just like his transitions are. I've literally watched some of his transitions, like just rewatched the transition for like an hour. His editor and his team and his animator, they are making the best content on YouTube. It's not close. As far as like editing and aesthetics. So I would have to say them. I also really like CoffeeZilla, so I just think his journalistic stuff is cool.
Next question is from Pants. I used to think lo-fi was music for the non-ambitious and the pacified. Recently, I've started to change my mind. What are your thoughts on lo-fi?
Um, I think it's interesting. I like it a lot. I think the lo-fi phenomena has to do with like the fact that there's something to like electronic music not being as satisfying spiritually. And I'm not saying like music is spiritual, but like I think honest listeners will understand what I mean by that. As like analog music, um But it like the beats and stuff are satisfying, like physically and mentally, it's satisfying the patterns of electronic music. And so it's a way to like tone it back and have that same satisfaction without the overbearingness of the music. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna ask something, but someone else is gonna ask it, so we'll get to that. Um, Belly asks, speaking of well-animated YouTubers, have you seen any Russian Badger? His gaming stuff is SFM animated.
I have not. I'll look him up. What is SFM animated?
Source filmmaker.
What's that?
Like the Source engine, like for TF2, Half-Life.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
the Source
funny.
filmmaker is like you can make like animated videos using models and stuff from the Source engine.
Okay. No, I haven't seen his stuff.
A human being named Alex asks, "Do you like Kurosawa's films? If so, do you have a favorite?"
Hold on, who's Kurosawa?
I think he's the
Oh, yes. Um, Seven Samurai. Phenomenal.
yeah.
I like Seven Samurai. I've only seen
Uh,
Seven Samurai, but it was phenomenal.
Gebs asks, and you can skip this by the way if it's too
Um, I
professional.
don't. It's getting close, and I don't want to talk. I'm not involved in that at all, so I don't want to speak to it.
Banana Rang asks, "Do you like Studio Ghibli?
I do. Yeah, I do. I
Which
like it a
one?
lot.
Which film do you like the most?"
Let me look at the list. My Neighbor Totoro, I think probably. Oh no, Spirited Away. Spirited Away.
Spirited Away is really good.
Yeah, I like Spirited Away quite a lot.
Howl's Moving Castle is also good. Uh, and Pants asks, "What's your favorite anime, if any, and why?"
I don't watch a ton of anime. I guess my favorite one would have to be Vinland Saga.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Um, Daniel asks, "How is your dog doing?"
My dog is good. He is sleeping in my room, I think. I can't see him right now, but he's quiet, so
Anna asks, "Do you follow Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh?"
no, I follow them on Twitter, but I don't listen to their stuff. I don't actually listen to a lot of news. I get most of my news through Twitter, like just reading stories of what's happening, and then I form my opinions on my own. I think there are a lot of good opinion news guys like Knowles and Walsh. I think what they do is good, but I just don't like it. It's not for me. I like to form my own opinions.
And it looks like this is the final question. Gebs asks, "What's your favorite prayer?"
Um, it's a good one.
I guess the easy way out is just to say the Mass, because the Mass is a prayer.
It is, but that's not the spirit of the question. The Saint. Oh shoot, do I not have it in here? Dang, it's the Saint. I think it's the Saint Boniface. The prayer. I think it's Bonaventure's prayer after Eucharist. It's in the front of the. I have the 1962 missal.
Right.
It starts out, Pierce, O most sweet Lord Jesus, my soul with the healthful wound of thy love, I think.
Oh, the prayer of Saint Bonaventure. I have it
Yeah.
here. Pierce, O most sweet Lord Jesus, my inmost soul, with the most joyous and healthful wound of thy love, and
Yes,
with
that
true,
one.
calm, and most apostolic charity. I have it in my ordinary prayer book.
Yeah, it's also I think it's in like basically all Catholic missals as a prayer after Eucharist. Yeah, I
That's
love that
underrated.
prayer. It's really great.
I'm just gonna skip the next question because that's literally a
Yeah.
bruh moment. Uh, Simple Man asks, "Have you ever had a chance to see a class relic in person?"
I've had quite a few actually, but the one I see most often is the first class of Thomas Aquinas that is in the studio. So I see it pretty much every day.
That's awesome. I don't people normally don't have the opportunity to see, like, relics of like, that popular saints of that level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh,
Uh, Daniel asks opinion on frogs.
they're turning them gay.
Putting
Yeah.
chemicals in the water.
He turned out to be right about that, by the
Yeah,
way.
he well, kind of right. They're becoming transgender, not
Yeah, yeah,
transsexual, not
yeah. They're literally transsexual. Xtex is now using bonus questions as the live chat. Great, good job, Xtex. Get it together, buddy. That looks like it. Unless,
yeah, unless Gebs wants to add something there. I think that's it. Yeah, looks like that's it.
okay, okay. What should I get for dinner after this? Chicken Alfredo.
According to
That's
Lace,
weird.
this is our second longest AMA possibly.
Don't tell me you love me. I don't know you. That's weird. Don't be parasocial.
Yeah, don't be parasocial, guys. Go touch grass. I mean, tomorrow. It's dark now.
Yeah, you could go outside and touch grass in the dark.
All right. Since there's no more questions, I'm just going to first I'm gonna give Thursday an opportunity to plug all his content. We'll also link it in the description so you guys can check it out there.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, all at Steuben Thursday, Steuben Thursday, Thursday. I live stream on YouTube, video games, or reading articles, or both. Sometimes we listen to public domain audiobooks while I'm gaming. Sometimes we do debate reactions. Pretty much whatever I want to do. It's my hobby, so I just do what I do for fun. Um, so yeah,
Awesome. Go check him out, guys. And in about 1 or 2 weeks, we'll have the AMA uploaded. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Uh, I guess now we can end with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. O God, I wish to thank Thee for giving us the gift of being able to hear Thursday here today. I pray that all who have heard this AMA are able to derive some benefit from it, and I ask Thou bless all those who worked hard to make it happen, especially Thursday himself. We ask this through Jesus Christ, Thy Son, our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with Thee, in the unity of the Holy Ghost, ever one God, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. All right,
amen.
guys. Thanks for coming to today's AMA with Thursday. Just before I end it here, I just want to give first. I want to thank Thursday for agreeing to doing this AMA with us, and especially taking so much time out of his day to do it. Usually AMAs are not this long. I also want to thank everyone on the mod team who helped make it happen, especially uh, Lace for being able to make the connection with Thursday. Um, Pants for his work with the YouTube Shorts, uh, Nazaraki for help with the graphics, as well as everyone else in the mod team. And also, I want to thank the entire server and all the people who turned out for this AMA. We couldn't have done it without you. All right, guys. I'm going to end the AMA here. God bless.